God damn. Fucking bullshit. Wow, bro. What a fucking nightmare, man. Like, man, I cannot stand these fucking updates for these kind of like, uh, jailbroken upgrades for programs, and then they all have different upgrade times for all the different little plugins that oh my god, bro. Whatever, I guess. Don't really matter.
But pulling back from all of this, the good news is humanity's waking up to elites in general. Big victory getting what we got out on Epstein. Big victories on so many fronts. Time is on our side. And as governments, corporations, and groups try to squeeze people, it's backfiring. But Nick, the midterms. Now, this is something I don't want to say I even overall disagree with you. But I have trouble with it in general. You say punish the Republicans. Any party in almost every case that wins the main election, general election, for people that don't know most of you do.
Actually, it wasn't
loses about 95%.
It was fucking OBS, man, because I have to download all these stupid ass little jailbroken or plugins, that private, regular guys that are good at coding write these plugins for the program, and they all fucking upgrade at different times. Well, one of them upgraded right there, and it just totally fucking destroyed the whole, like it disconnected it from the internet. It took me like 40 minutes to unfuck it, man, because I had to go through and like check everything. Oh my god, bro, that shit drives me fucking insane. But it's either do that or you got to pay fucking money to stream to multiple platforms. That shit isn't free, Like Streamlabs, they charge a fucking arm and a leg for that shit, man. Just to stream to multiple platforms, whereas you can get it bootlegged from developers. It's free, but it ain't. It's not proprietary. You know what I mean? Like you can't really count on it. I mean, it works for the most part, but not all the time. Sometimes it's hard to unfuck it. Put it that way. Anyhow, I guess I may as well just
time in the midterm, but then that catapults them generally with a better shot of winning in the general election. But then the issue is, I know you don't like J.D. Vance, got compared to Marco Rubio, the neocon. He's an angel cake. But in the polls, it's Rubio's, not on the grassroots, people like him better for whatever reason. So looking at that, how does voting Democrat, when they're just going to open the borders again and probably try to pack the Supreme Court, how does that? I mean, I get that would definitely punish the Republicans, but
Alex Jones,
Lindsey Graham said,
how does voting for the same people over again after they fucked us? How does continuing to vote for those people? How does that solve the problem, sir? If this is what they give us every fucking time, bro, are you trying to tell me that we're going to solve this problem by voting for them again? Bro. Like that's a non-starter, bro. And it's really pissing me off that Republicans are clinging to this. It's like, bro, do you think that they're just going to after the next election, they're going to say, gee, we've been fucking our constituents so hard for the last century, and we just feel like switching it up and giving back for no reason. Not because, they didn't hold us to account or, deny us an election. No, they still voted for us and everything. Dude, they're not ever going to change. If, the Israel, they play both sides. Barry Weiss, Ben Shapiro, left, right. They play both sides. They go hard in the paint. But we play this stupid team game where it's like, the Republicans fuck us hard. Then conservatives that are upset with it say, fuck this, I'm punishing this guy, and I am going to vote for the Democrats. Then the fucking shills and the people that are going to stick with the Republicans, they go, hey, how dare you betray the Republicans? It's like, excuse me, bro. It's not my fault that they're losing votes. It's their fault for betraying me. It's not my fault for walking away. It's if you want to blame somebody for the Democrats winning the next election, don't fucking blame me, bro. I'm not the one that fucking literally started a war in Iran. I'm not the one who did exactly the opposite of what they campaigned on, bro. If you want to blame somebody, there they are. You can blame them, man. That's what I'm doing. But I'm not going to fucking vote for him this year. I'm not voting for him in the midterms. None of them. Fuck them, man. These people are crooks, dude. And honestly, I'm starting to think, really and truly, like Nick is right, man. It's like, bro, if we're not going to take a stand and fix this now, then you may as well just let the fucking Democrats have it, man. You may as well just let the Democrats burn the motherfucker down. Because, I mean, it's stupid, man. And people, they don't want to step out of the comfort zone, or they're scared. I don't know what it is. It's just like, bro, you have nothing to lose, man. You couldn't possibly do worse. I mean, the Democrats, they didn't get us into no war. Like, it just blows my mind, bro, how people can honestly try to blame voters for why the Republicans lose. It's like, bro, if you want to know why the Republicans lost, well, look at their last term and see that what the policy. Bro, all they did was tax decreases, or what I forget what they call them. For businesses, corporate tax cuts, which isn't for us. The fucking the deportations, that's gone. That's gone. And I hear, and like you hear people like Nick, he says this sometimes, but I hear other people, they say, like Steven Crowder, yeah, like, yeah, it sucks that we're in war, or yeah, it sucks they did the tax cuts, but we need the deportations, man. And it's like, I would be with you, bro, if they were actually doing the deportation, but they're not, man. If I'm going to get zero of what I voted for, then fuck it, dude. I'm voting for the Democrats then. Because the Republicans, they're worse, dude. They're worse, man. They're arresting people at colleges. It's gotten really bad. Pete Hegseth is fucking campaigning for Trump. Bro, the night of the Massey election, Pete Hegseth was out there like campaigning for Trump, bro. The fucking Secretary of Defense or Secretary of War, that's never happened before. That's never happened. What the fuck is going on? I mean, to me, I don't see as there's much of a choice, man. It's like, I think Nick's right, but not because he's right. I'm just, not because I'm just jocking his nuts, but because the Republicans will never change if we just keep voting for them. They will stay exactly the same, and we'll get nothing. So that's a non-starter. Voting for them anymore, that's a non-starter, because you're not going to get anything out of it. They're not going to change nothing. So really, the only two other alternatives to not vote or vote for Democrats. And the only way that we're going to get something fresh out of the Republicans is by totally giving them a shellacking, stripping them of power completely, just rendering them absolutely inert. And, I'm kind of being a hyperbolist there, but like, at least, to a good degree, not in control of Congress, either chamber. They have their presidency right now, but I don't want them in control of either chamber. Honestly, bro. They're doing evil shit, man. And they're like all these fucking Zionists and shit, Ted Cruz, Laura Loomer, these people are out gloating, doing a little fucking victory lap over the last day or two. Bro, I seen fucking Laura Loomer calling Rand Paul like a despicable Jew killer or anti-Semite and Jew murderer, bro. And Mark Levin to Ron Paul. It's like, have you guys ever even heard those dudes speak? Have you ever like, do you have any idea the people that you're like smearing like that? Those guys are like true blue, honest as the day is long, doctor Americans, and you're smearing them. Like, that really bothers me when I see like a good, honest, wholesome American and they're just getting trashed, like vile, like being called a Nazi and this and that. That's, this stuff, it's like these people, they're fucking stupid, man. They're playing with fire. It's like, do you realize you are going to whip some shit up that's going to end with you being like burned at the stake or something? Like, I don't know what she's thinking, Laura Loomer and stuff, but like the way she behaves, it's so belligerent. It's like, this is only going to end a couple ways, Miss Loomer. Like, and these people, like, for some reason, they think humans aren't animals or something. And like, that there's just infinite slack, infinite fucking patience. It's like, no, you're going to fuck around and find out eventually one of these days, that bitch Laura Loomer. And she's totally fucking psychotic, man. But and also that's her fucking shtick, my dudes. That's her thing, bro. She is a loser. She's a loser ass woman, bro. If she was a dude, she would be a fucking, bro, people would be calling that bitch a loser every day, all day. But women, they don't get called losers because, honestly though, most women are losers. Women losers, like living at their parents, cats, no savings. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it used to be women couldn't be losers, but today, yeah, they can be losers, and most of them are. Especially Laura Loomer. I mean, she is a piece of work, but like, she's such a loser. Her life is so miserable. She has to attack people like that. She has to go after people in a vicious manner. That's the only way she can get out of her own fucking head, man. I could tell when I hear that, when I hear her speak, when I see the stuff she says, it's outrageous, bro. It's way over the top. It's all exaggerated. She's like, she's inside using her outside voice. Like, like that's what I'm getting at, is she is blowing things way out of proportion. Like she right now, it's as if we're in Weimar Germany and, uh, like Hitler is literally like, running in an election or something. Like that's how if you listen to Laura Loomer, the hour seems late. The hour seems late. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't see pogroms and shit happening. Like, things really haven't changed that much in the last few years. So, she's doing it on purpose. This stuff is just, it's total kabuki theater. And she has this particularly outrageous and outlandish brand of it. She's a caricature of the Israel lobby. She's even a caricature of Mark Levin. I mean, she will just come out and say shit. She don't give a fuck, man. No fucks given. That woman, she has no qualms with pissing people. Like, honestly, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she knew that she was dancing with the devil. She probably knows that, eventually one day somebody's going to knock her ass off, in a dark alley or something. She's going to get whacked over the back of the head. Like, I'm telling you, man, that woman she is asking for it, man. And, like, honestly, I've heard she's not even Jewish. Like, she's just a regular, like, American that, like, is such a loser that she jumped on that bandwagon just to have a community kind of a thing. Like, do you guys hear this too? Like, because that's what I've heard anyway. She's a psycho, truly. And then I've heard her on her podcast a couple times, like once or twice, and I'm like, whoa, this bitch is crazy. The way that she talks, yeah, I fucking hate that bitch. You know, the way she talks, it's very kind of reminiscent of Valley Girl, like fucking Moon Unit Zappa or some shit. You know what I mean? Like straight up, man. Also, I was thinking about this, like, and how like truly cartoonish that her and the rest of the lobby have gotten, and the rest of the Zionists have gotten. It's like a fever pitch now. You know, I'm sure you guys have seen it. Where, I mean, if you if you express your dissatisfaction, or you express your outrage, or uh, your anger over the fact that Israel gets special benefits, or like if you bring any of that stuff up, I mean, like they draw it like a fucking gun, man. It's like the Wild West, and they bang, anti-Semite, bah! I mean, it's just bah! Oh shit! I didn't even realize the the camera wasn't on. Hang on. But they draw it like a gun nowadays, man. I mean, it's crazy. And it's, but that's a weakness though. And I was thinking about this, like, how do you take advantage of that weakness? And also, they're so arrogant, man. They literally brag and gloat and rub shit into people's faces. Like that's all they did after Massey lost. And these people, man, whoa, they are just so ripe for the fall. I think it's only a matter of time before they totally eat crow. They totally just slip on a banana peel, and their whole world just comes tumbling down. Honestly, that's how I feel about it. But I was thinking to myself, like, the, the way they're calling people anti-Semites for bringing up facts. It's a fact that AIPAC, and not only that, but it is absolutely legal for businesses, for ethnic groups, for any group in America, whites, blacks, for any ethnic group, like Greece or Israel, any foreigners that live in this country, because there used to be a Greek lobby actually years ago. They when they, for like the first 30 years, they had this big presence here. But it's absolutely legal to lobby. It's similar to voting. Like we lobby our politicians with our votes, and that's not the only way to influence politicians, though. You can donate, you can lobby them. And I think lobbying is actually a good thing. And it was, but now it's not. Like it was a good thing, and then modernity came. Like nobody foresaw modernity. Like, George Washington and all those guys, they could not have foreseen this. But lobbying, it was a way to, it was a way to make sure that everybody's voice got heard. That industries didn't just get trampled on because of the voters or because of other industries. You know what I'm saying? Like they could stick up for themselves if they had the, if they were successful businesses, successful industries, they would have the money to back themselves up. And of course, with these multi-billion-dollar companies, it gets kind of farcical, but it was a good thing, especially when everything was mom and pop. But it's legal. So we should be able to say it's not right that Israel, or it's not right that these countries and businesses get to lobby our politicians, so that our politicians don't even listen to us anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a problem. But we can't even have that conversation because Israel comes in anti-Semite. And the effect that has is, like, if you comment, you have a legitimate, grievance, a legitimate comment, they say, oh, look at the Jew hatred. That's that. Oh, your Jew hatred is this and that. You know what I mean? Like, and it's this smear, because what it does is it immediately rebuffs that person. And they just, they're like, ugh! It's like a deer in headlights. They don't really know what to say. Like, there's nothing they can draw like a gun. And it has another effect too. When they comment on X, Jew hatred, nobody else comes near that fucking comment or thread with a 10-foot clown pole. They're not coming anywhere near that shit. Because you have the stink on you. Somebody has smeared you as a Jew hater or as an anti-Semite. So automatically, you know, that like you're like a skunk. You have stink on you, at least in that thread. You know, you have to like come up with a whole new comment on somebody else's thread. Well, I was thinking like, you know, there has got to be a way to front load the question, to present or frame the question so that they can't, or that saying Jew hatred doesn't fit, you know. And if they were to say you're a Jew hater, it would be laughable, you know, and people would blow it like, what do you like? And they would lose the argument because it's so laughable. And I was thinking about it, like, you know, and lobbying is, and basically what I came to the conclusion that like, I started kind of brainstorming too and commenting and just kind of trying to get my foot in the door with this angle. And the way I did it, I would slide in when people would call somebody else Jew haters or anti-Semites. I would slide in and I would say, is it anti-Semitic or hateful to acknowledge that Israel has their own personal ambitions and interests? You know, all humans have personal interests. All states as well. All humans take part in self-preservation. All humans pursue their own interests and their own ambitions. Is it Jew hatred to say that Israel does what's in their best interest to do? Is that Jew hate? I mean, simply, honestly. Well, you know, none of them called me a Jew hater after I said that. Matter of fact, the way that they responded to me, I could tell, like, it had their antenna up. You know what I mean? Like their ears perked up when they read my comment, and they started like picking at me. Like, what are you trying to get at? What are you getting at here? What are you saying? What's your point? I'm like, bro, like, fuck you, man. I'm just pointing out, you know, I'm calling a spade, you fucking jerk off. I'm calling a spade. I'm just pointing out that it's not Jew hatred to say Israel has their own fucking interests and they pursue those interests just like I do. I would do what Jews do if I was in their position. I would do that exactly, pretty much. I mean, I wouldn't be genociding people, but I would pursue my own interests. I do pursue my own interests. If I was a foreigner, I would pursue, you know what I mean? Like, I would try to influence, like, if I was a country and I could get benefits and advantages over my neighbors, and I could get free money, and I could get concessions, and, you know, the world is easier for me to deal with, trading, you know, people don't fuck with me. Like, no shit that I would pursue that. You know, like, you're in cahoots with the global hegemon, or was, you know, like, was anyway, but like, you're in cahoots with them. It's not Jew hatred or anti-Semitic to say that, you know, Israel benefits from America bestowing benefits and advantages on them, you know, and that's just calling a spade a spade. And it really bothers them because there's no foothold. There's no hook for them to hang Jew hatred on, you know? And they really did not like this. Like, they got fucking, like, truly, they started getting vicious about it, but they didn't call me a Jew hater or an anti-Semite. They just would like blow me, like, oh, you're fucking retarded, and blow me off and shit like that. And I'm like, bro, go ahead, man. Go ahead and say that if you want. You haven't won anything. You're just showing your ass. Like, you're making me look good, bro. If that's what you want to do, go to it, man. You know. But then I kind of got into it. I'm trying to fucking pull up my history on X so I can show y'all right quick some of the stuff, some of the comments I made, but and I was like, do they not pursue their own interests? Is it anti-Semitic to suggest that they pursue their own self-interest to the detriment of America? Like, no matter what, Israel benefits from our relationship with them. And whatever benefits we bestow on them, they cost us something. There's a cost associated with what the help that we give Israel. There is a cost to that. And some asshole jumps in mine, he goes, oh, but America benefits way more. And I mean, that's the guy jumped in basically attacking me saying, America benefits more than Israel benefits, which is bullshit. He couldn't even elaborate on it. I'm like, bro, what are you smoking, dude? Because nobody agrees with that. That's bullshit. It's like, how do we benefit exactly? Do you give us free Uzis or something that I'm not aware of? And the way that they kind of launder that, because what they do is they say that we benefit as much as they do. And they'll list one or two things that we get, like, oh, we get intel from them, and they help us with weapons and this and that. But they don't ever talk about the fact that we pay for their stupid ass birthright Israel fucking trips for their kids. They don't ever bring up the fact that we give them like billions of dollars every year. They don't ever bring up the fact that we give them all these arms and weapons. And then if you bring that up, they'll say, yeah, but the money you give us, we have to spend it with you. It's like, bro, that doesn't make me feel any better. Like, shut the you have to give it to a company? You're not giving it back to me, asshole. So fuck you. Like, no. How about you just leave it here? How about we just spend it on us? Like, we fix the roads or some shit. That's like, they think because that we give them money and then they turn around and spend the money and they buy shit from us, like as if somehow that negates the fact that we're giving them like our shit. Like, and we're broke. We're literally fucking in debt and we're giving them shit. And what they do, and like, it's the same thing with the Jew hatred thing. They'll let you talk about one or two of the accepted benefits that America gets from Israel. And they'll let you talk about the one or two things that they will acknowledge that Israel benefits from us. But if you start talking about kind of the clandestine under the radar stuff, that's when they start calling you a Jew hater. That's when they start calling you an anti-Semite. And that's their game, is they don't let you talk about the fucked up shit. They let you talk about the stuff mainstream media talks about. And as soon as you deviate from that, as soon as you start getting at other stuff, they immediately shut it all down. They immediately nuke the whole fucking thread. They say you're a Jew hater. You're just, it's just low IQ bigotry, low IQ Jew hatred. And I hate it, man. It's tantamount to censorship, and it's very clever. It's very effective. Very effective. And it pisses me off because it's not even smart, man. It's like fucking brute force, low IQ, like sort of out in the open fucking propaganda and censorship. And they're so arrogant, though. They think that you can't beat them. They think that they have you beat no matter what. That they can just say Jew hater, anti-Semite, and that's it. If you, like, they think that they have control of escalation, in other words. And they kind of do. Most people, most people don't ever consider, how they frame their shit. Most people ever, like, I actually, like, it bothers me that they do this shit. So, like, I start scheming and shit, like, I'll fucking devote a day of, like, straight focus and introspective thinking just by myself. I won't even talk to other people. Just spend a whole day figuring out some way to humiliate those sons of bitches, some way to get them off balance, some way to get them on the back foot. And I did yesterday, or last night anyway. I honestly, and I barely even kind of really scratched the surface of this whole, um, this whole angle of attack, I guess you could say. Here we go. Go. Yeah, here's one. Christians have been here long. Oh no, it was oh yeah, uh, Jews have been here for decades, even centuries. Most Muslims are newer arrivals. So if they don't like it here, they can go to Somalia, Afghanistan, Syria, etc. Which is the gall. Like, bro, you're a J, bro. How long have you been here? Bro, you've only been here a couple years too, and you haven't you haven't done shit for this country. Like, who the fuck are you, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you need to go back to Somalia and this and that. It's like, bro, you know something? If I could trade them for you, I would do it like that, bro. So I mean, you might want to calm down with the whole deporting shit because a lot of us are this like we love to throw your ass out. Like you don't belong here. And this guy he said Christians have been here longer than all of them. So what would your issue be with Christians telling all Jews to get out? After all, we were here first. I mean, it's kind of a good point. Like, bro, you're barking up the wrong tree here because you start talking about like this is your country and that you have, you have the right to tell newcomers or people that got here after you that they have to go home. Well, motherfucker, my family's been here since the fucking Revolutionary War. How about you walk your fat shekel having ass the fuck out of our country? You know, how about you take you and your little fucking yarmulke and get the fuck out, Adam Sandler, you scumbag. You and your yarmulke. And then this guy, so you're equating Judaism to Islam. You really think those ideologies are on the same level? I sincerely hope you mistyped. And I was like, yes, yes. It's like, what gives you the right to assume any Abraham? Like, because, I'm really sick of the chauvinism where Jews, they seem to think that they have like the premier religion, that their religion is like if you ever compare Islam to Judaism, they get all butthurt and indignant. Like, how dare you? They're like a low IQ, like animalistic, barbaric, like religion. And it's just like, bro, who the fuck are you talking about, bro? You have a fucking filthy ass fucking religion, bro. And you're talking shit about them. And the way that they talk about Muslims, it's like, I've never met a Muslim that actually matched their description. Never. And I've had conversations with Muslims, guys. Like I remember I moved a guy, I helped him he moved here he moved to Bangladesh to find a wife. And then I moved when he came back, I didn't know him before, but when he came back, he hired me as a mover. And I went and helped him shop at IKEA and some other shit like that. But I met his family and his wife they cooked me a meal and stuff. And he did a little evangelizing. I was kind of happy to listen to him talk about Islam because I didn't know that much about it, and it was kind of interesting. And honestly, I find a lot more in common with Muslims than I do with the Jays. At least Muslims, when they talk about Jesus, they say, "And peace be upon him." Because like same thing with Muhammad. When they speak Muhammad's name, when they speak Jesus's name, they do it with a reverence. They actually say, "Peace be upon him," after they say it. And Jews, no, they won't even say Jesus. They will not even say the name. And Muslims, they don't think they're better than me. They kind of just want to do their own thing. They're not really concerned about me. But these Jays, that's all they're concerned about, bro. That's all. Most of them aren't even religious, man. They just want to join in with their religious buddies in talking down to people and feeling like they're superior and holier than thou. It's disgusting, bro. I said, you're implying that Muslims are subhuman. in a not so subtle way. I don't see them as subhuman, and your attitude towards other humans is quite honestly sickening. Why do you think this is okay? I mean, I'm just starting to get sick of the way that they talk, man. Look, and this guy had 66 likes. And that's what I mean by the shit is vicious. They hit you, they overwhelm. It's a shock and awe campaign. They either have a shitload of bots or everybody gets on at the same time to back each other up, and to like that's what it is. Because how many likes they get, like, and then if you comment, if you actually have a good retort, bro, all of a sudden 30 people will just attack you out of nowhere, bro. So, it's like they're a roving gang. That's what it's like. There's a roving gang of Jays on X. And they're just looking, they're looking to pummel anybody that's straggling by themselves. So and they get onto X, man, and anybody who straggles, boy, they jump all over him with blackjacks and billy clubs, man, and just, oh man, it's ridiculous, dude. Like this guy says, and some of their stuff was like pathetic, to be honest. Like this guy said something about me being like an Epstein, fact, Thomas Massey wouldn't be a popular name if he wasn't anti-Israel. And I was like, yes, he would, bro. He single-handedly got the Epstein files released. If that was all he did, he would be a household name. And the guy says, how'd that work out? You still have nothing. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? I've won the exchange. I just proved you wrong, that you're full of shit and you don't know what you're talking about. That no, he would still be famous. And this is how they have to be beaten, brick by brick, day by day. It just has to be little humiliations. And eventually the American culture will turn on them and we'll see them as despicable and disgusting people that aren't fit to live with. And they think they're invincible. They love showing off. They love gloating. All that shit is nothing but a weakness. It's nothing but a weakness, man. And they're just begging for somebody to come and clip their ass. Come get them. Take advantage of that weakness. This guy, this is some bullshit. Forget who he was he was commenting to somebody. He said, turns out that Jew hate, though popular online. Oh, he's talking about how because somebody who posted that, or there was a poll, Massey won over that other guy, but it was a poll on X, so it didn't mean anything. But he's like, though popular, turns out that Jew hate, though popular online with third world Muslims, booger eaters, modern day Nazis, and the dumbest people alive, is super unpopular in real world America. Who would have thought? Actually, no, it's not, bro. All that shit, like, bro, third world Muslims, bro. I don't even think third world Muslims really hate Jews. Honestly, I think that's kind of bullshit. It's like, really, they really hate Jews because I'm pretty sure India is like breaking bread with them right now. I know India, they're Hindu, but still, they're the same people. They're Indians. And this Jew hate thing, like they're gloating because they think their Jew hatred smears and their anti-Semitism smears, they think that they are untouchable, that those are unassailable, that they can't be touched. They have you backed into a corner and you can't put up a fight. You can't defend yourself. They're just beating up on you. That's not the case, man. And they've been leaning on this smearing. They've been leaning on this more and more and more as time goes on. And right now, they're very low IQ. They're very fucking, they haven't been exercising. They're arguing and they're, like normal Jays are very good arguers. That's why they're fucking lawyers and stuff. But they have not been exercising that muscle. They have gotten used to easily winning. I said, is it hateful to point out that Israel and Jews benefit from their relationship with America? Is it hateful to say Israel is self-interested? Is it hateful to say that they have ambitions and use the tools at their disposal to pursue those ambitions just like all human beings would? The guy says, we benefit from the relationship far more, you imbecile. He's talking about America. We benefit way more than Israel does. Like, bro, is that not the most incredible and outrageous, stupid point you've ever heard a Jay make? Like, oh, we benefit more. Like, it's a, oh man, could you imagine if Israel just cut us off and left us to our own devices? God, we would suffer. Oh, life would be so hard if Israel wasn't backing us, if they weren't our benefactor. Like, bro, honestly, man, it's like, it's insulting when somebody says something that fucking stupid. And this is their kind of replies. I said, totally irrelevant. Israel and its interests are the topic at hand. Whether we benefit is a moot point. Israel benefits or it wouldn't participate. Just how much does Israel benefit? Immensely. In what ways does it benefit? What are the costs to Americans? It's vague at best. Nobody knows any of this stuff. And this dickface, he says, LMAO, totally irrelevant. It's only irrelevant. Or I said totally irrelevant. He says, LMAO, totally irrelevant. It's only irrelevant if you're retarded. Like, bro, is this the best you got, my dude? Because if somebody finds a way to fucking to negate your fucking smears, if somebody finds a way to disarm you of your smears, you are fucked, bro. They are gonna roast your ass alive, bro. They're gonna fucking crucify you, man. I mean, you're gonna be looking sick, dude. I mean, that's the way that I see it, man, is these people, they don't even realize just how weak and how open to attack they are, how defenseless they are. They've been, our media has been giving them cover. And they've been wearing that shit out lately. And right now, I think anti-Semitism and saying somebody's a Jew hater, I think right now it's actually has at its lowest power level than it ever has been. You know what I mean? Like, it's at a nadir, because people hardly even bat an eye anymore, honestly. LOL, shut up, you silly fat shit. Oh, that shit is funny. I'm making fun of you, dumbass. You are literally too stupid to insult. Oh my, it's just like, bro, are you a bot? Like, what the hell? Man, these people, I mean, I wish people came with more fire. People are fucking dumb. They come and they just get chopped up by these morons. And it's just like, bro, for real though, like, you can't think of a better line of attack than, what you've been doing. Like, I'm kind of disappointed, man, that like these people have so handily routed everybody over the years, over and over, just kicking their ass. Like, how is it that nobody has got pissed off enough to say, you know what, enough of this Jew hatred bullshit. We need to defeat this. We need to find an end run around this shit, and take that weapon away from these bastards. Looking for one there was one that was rather interesting. Yeah. I said, that Massey single-handedly had the Epstein files released. And then one of these fucking Jays jumps in and goes, well, Trump signed it into law. I'm like, bro, it was an unvetoable majority. He was forced to sign it into law. Okay? Like, it's crazy though, but these people chase down every single loose end. Anybody who says anything, at least one J or one Zionist chases that loose end down and makes sure that person quits talking. I mean, it's like, whoa, man, this is crazy, dude. And what it is it's like organic censorship. like that they're being so thorough about it, and they're making sure that even though they can't censor people, they don't own X, they can't do it, that what they're doing is they're just badgering people out into censorship. That's what they're doing. And honestly, it's like we're beat unless people start coming at it with more novel arguments and different tactics and tacts. Somebody said, "Go back to Scotland, you wanker." Hmm. Where is it? God damn it! There's only a couple of good ones, and I'm having trouble finding it. Maybe not. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know, or maybe I just skipped over it. But anyhow, I mean, I actually kind of the tact worked too. I didn't want to get too deep into it on X because, you know, I would rather just test it a little bit and then bring it to full maturity. The whole kind of argument or the line of attack, like I kind of want to bring it to maturity before I actually like push it, you know. Or I might not even use it in public. I might just wait till I actually have an audience, you know, and like a, somebody who's a somebody and not just a nobody that I'm debating. Like I'm thinking about getting into debating more, like, and actually like kind of you know, doing, what are they, trial by fire or whatever, you know, just you know, going into uh combat, you know, rhetorical combat, and just, you know, kind of forge myself in fire, so to speak. But somebody like, and it bothers me that nobody has come at them from any sort of fresh angles. Nobody ever attacks them outside, like it uses something outside of the box, you know, something that they don't have a response ready for. Like, and it's all canned bullshit, you know, everything they say, they're all canned lines. None of them think of this stuff on the spot, you know. But the thing, like, what is bothers me is they're so effectively like censoring X, man, and they're only getting away with it because we're not actually uh uh engaging and not engaging at as high of a level as they are. We're not focused, like, you know, they're actually, like I said, they're chasing down every single lead. And I don't know, I'm just tired of seeing us get our fucking asses kicked by these scumbags, man. These people are like evil. Seriously, these people are evil, man. And it bothers me that they're winning and they're getting away with all the shit they're doing. Something else I was thinking about earlier. Did you guys know that of all consumer spending in America, women account for 80%? Did you know that? 80% of all spending, like consumer spending. That means men only spend 20%, like they only buy 20%. Isn't that kind of like, that's kind of like crazy, right? Like what a disparity there. Like what causes that kind of a disparity? Like honestly, and I actually kind of looked into it, and I kind of like, it started to take shape, and I could actually kind of understand why that's things are that way. What's crazy is men and single women spend more money in the during the year than they make. The average man spends or makes like 41,000, The average woman makes like 38,000, and they spend like 1,000 more than they make every year. Like, isn't that crazy? That's crazy. Like, you don't save any money at all. Like, that's wild to my mind, anyhow. Like, that just, I couldn't believe that shit. I'm like, wow, that's pretty insane. And also, I thought that more women owned houses, but no, actually, men, millennial men are more likely to own a home. Like, that's kind of crazy. I thought it was the other way around. I'm not trying to attack anybody. I'm just kind of like trying to draw a picture here for you guys, because I kind of saw some interesting shit. But like, what men spend theirs on, the bulk of men of their spending is actually on cars, transportation, and gas. Men or women, they the bulk of their money they spend it on, or I mean, like, I'm talking about other than like rent and shit. Like, that's what I mean is m- uh men spend most of their money on cars, uh gas, transportation. Women spend it on like rent, um personal care, health care, pets, clothing. They spend a lot more on healthcare, spend almost double uh in like personal care, clothing. They spend a lot more, shoes they spend a lot more, and they spend a lot on their pets. Men spend a lot on their cars. They spend a lot on their general entertainment. They spend twice as much on alcohol and tobacco than women. Uh Men tend to spend a lot more money on hobbies, and women, they spend a lot more money on reading and education. And I would imagine that's because women, they're paying off their loans and whatnot, or they might be going to school as well. But what's kind of crazy is you can kind of understand what kind of a life these people are living by how they're spending their money. It's kind of crazy, to be honest. I mean, it's neat that you can kind of get a feel for what these people's lives are like. Here we go. Here we are. think this this is the no, this isn't the I'm looking for the other article. We're looking at two of them, and one of them sucked and the other one was good. Alles klar, Herr Kommissar. Do a little trolling. We do a little trolling. Fuck. And that was the 2020 version. Dude. Oh. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, men spend 11,000 on their housing. Women spend 11,500. Men spend 4,100. Women spend 4,200. Men spend 5,500 on food. Uh, Women spend 4,500. Men buy a lot more food. Healthcare. Men spend about 1,700. Women spend about 1,800 a year. Transportation. Men spend 7,200. Women spend 5,000. And that makes sense to me, but I'm gonna finish this real quick before I get to that. Apparel and personal care products. Men spend 1,500, women spend 2,100. Entertainment. Men spend 2,100 or 2,200, women spend 1,800. Reading and education. Men spend 832, women spend double that. Alcohol and tobacco. Men spend 1,200, women spend 600. Personal insurance and pensions. Men spend 5,200, women spend 4,400. And then there's other. 1,300 and 1,300 respectively. They both spend the same thing, the same amount on other stuff. But and like the transportation, men are spending money. They're working. Like their job, they rely on their transportation to work. So that's why they put so much money in their transportation, because they work every single day and they work outside typically. So men, it's a lot more important for men for their car to be running. So, they make money with it. And also, rather than investing in education or college, they invest in themselves. They invest in items that will make them a more productive person, like a car, a more reliable car, for instance. And women, they go about it differently. They go for school. Men go for the more, they go for reliable stuff, that will make them a better value for a business. And then women, they opt for learning skills and whatnot. It's just like a different attitude or a different way of approaching the problem, but really they're basically the same. I mean, they're both those are both things they're trying to build their career up with. They're spending their money so that they can go places in their career, whether it be on education, whether it be on transportation, same thing. Also, men spend a little bit less on their housing, and that makes sense, because guys are more likely to cut their own grass than a woman is. They're more likely to do the work around their own house than women are. So it's automatically going to cost women a little bit more to be independent, because anytime something breaks, they have to hire a guy to come fix it. Anytime any of that stuff happens, anytime there's something that they can't physically do, they have to hire it done. Whereas men, like I'm this way, I've actually never taken any of my cars to a mechanic ever, not once in my life. Not for an oil change, not for nothing. Like it never has even occurred to me that I should go to a mechanic. I mean, I just won't. It's not happening. And I was thinking, that kind of puts women at a disadvantage, like big time. And you have to think about it too, that like the way that what the two different people are going for. Men, they're trying to build a life that a family can fit into. They're trying to build up their castle so that it's ready to go for a family can just move right in. That's what the guy is pursuing. The woman isn't pursuing that. She's more like she's actually more like passing time almost. She's waiting to be picked, or to be to be chosen, more or less, to be married or to get married. Or so they focus less on housing. They own less houses, so they're not as concerned with buying a house. They're more comfortable with renting. And other things that made it seem that way. And another thing that stuck out to me is women spend a lot on their pets. They all have pets. Men don't really have pets. What occurred to me? That women are they're meant to be mothers so bad that even when they've been brainwashed to not want to be a mother, and they're independent, they have to go out and pay money for a pet to satisfy those urges. They can't be happy without something to take care of. And they actually, if they forego children, they have to spend money. They actually have to come out of their pocket. That's, I mean, that's crazy. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a need for them to take care of people and to nurture that even if they're a boss babe, independent woman, they can't do it alone. They need a pet so badly that they spend a ton of money on that pet. I was thinking, you know, what a awful toxic culture we have, man. Where it's like, ladies, we need you at the job. We need you in the office. Could you come in? You know, sorry, you're not gonna be able to have kids, but you can get a dog, you can't get a cat. We need you to come in on Saturday this evening, ladies. We got some work for you to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's so evil. Like, how were people able to convince women to go to work and, like, if you're sad and stuff, you just get a pet. You know, if you're long for having a child, working is better. You know, it's a better use of your time. It's a more fulfilling lifestyle. Don't you know? You know, you can always get a cat, you know, if it really bothers you. Like, bro, our society is like way fucked, man. It's like way fucked. And the more that I look into it, I'm like, bro, this is like not even something that I want to participate in. You know, the pet thing, like, I never really thought about it, but honestly, bro, that's like super dark and super, like, bro, that's so sad, man. We're not reproducing, but we sure have a lot of fucking well pampered and taken care of goddamn pussycats and fucking mutts and shit. But we don't have no kids. And the kids we do have are fucking fucked up in the head and psychos and retards and shit. But, you know, we do have a fantastic population of fucking cats, you know, and they're loved. Like, honestly, it's just kind of sad. I mean, and women traded a family and a husband, a loving husband, loving children. They traded that shit up for loneliness and fucking animals, bro. Really, though? Really? It's no wonder that they don't just like commit mass fucking ending themselves, because I don't know, man. It just seems kind of wild to me that, and also, you know, I think that actually that feminism is just like a capitalist plot. You heard me. I said 80% of all consumer spending is spent by women. You know, what if all the men have been replaced in all the high paying jobs because men save too much money? Because women, they don't save very much. You know, they spend way more of their money. And if you want to sell something, you target women because they're more, you know, easy come, easy go. You know, they don't do labor for their money. They either work in air conditioning, or they have a husband that's their benefactor and gives them money that he makes, or they're with their dad that gives them his money. So really, they don't really have all that great of they don't really understand the true value of money, because it's not like they're working outside in 100-degree heat climbing trees for that money. No, they're in a cubicle, like pushing paper, clicking their mouse on their fucking computer. So really, their whole relationship with money is totally skewed. It's not real. It's and I think that's why they spend it so much more and so much easier, because it's easy come, easy go. And also it's in their nature, you know, evolutionary. Like, but imagine that, you know, you have all the top paying jobs in their own, and they're worked by men. And those men, they're saving up for a family or a wife. You know, they're saving money. Those men are investing in themselves, in housing, in assets. They're not buying frivolous perfumes. They're not buying all kinds of bullshit and stuff. Like, you look at a man's apartment, what does he have? A mattress with no box spring, a TV sitting on an upside down tough liner or tough can, you know, like garbage can, plastic garbage can. got a TV on that and like maybe a recliner or a fold out, like lawn chair kind of a thing or camping chair. So really there's no money to be made off of men. So like think of it this way, like, when like you only have so many, over $100,000 jobs. And if men don't buy anything, they only buy 20% of consumer spending. Would it not, if you were a businessman, would it not make sense to get those men out of those highest paying positions and get women into those positions? Because if those women have more money at their disposal, they will spend it. This is some evil, evil, evil shit, man. This is some dark shit here, dude. Because this is exactly what took place, man. I mean, we were stripped of our position of honor in America, in American society, so that women could have spending money. So that women could have spending money. Never mind that, there's no men out there to be heads of households. There's no men out there that are making enough money to buy houses and start families. But you know what? There is a hell of a lot of women that got plenty of dough to spare. You know what I mean? Like, hey, graph go up, right? Graph go up. Yeah. Man, it's this fucking world is so fucked, man. Like it is so fucked. I mean, it's kind of fucking breathtaking, like how incredibly evil everything is. Like everything is evil. Everything is turned against us. But there's no doubt in my mind that somebody got the bright idea that, hey, we got to get these women into the job market. And then they get them into the job market and they're like, you know what? Like we're doing this all wrong. Like we need to have them with making all the money because then they will spend it. You see, don't you see? And the way that I'm thinking about this is they were like, we'll displace the men. We'll send them down to, we'll get them out of all these high paying jobs, the finance jobs, the broker jobs, all that stuff. We'll get them out of those jobs and we will put them digging ditches, at least basically, we will put them at maintaining society. They will do line clearance. They will collect garbage. They will do construction. They will do electrical. They will do fucking sewage and traffic shit. They will lay new roads. They will maintain society and they will do it cheap. They will do it for blue collar wages. And then we'll put women in the high paying jobs. And they're not stupid and they know that they can't just cast men down and like as untouchables, cast them down into sewers and shit, or cast them down into hell or something. You know what I mean? Like they realize that men actually do hold society up. Like women don't build buildings, they don't lay roads, they don't retar roads, they don't trim trees, they don't fucking, you know what I mean? Like they don't do that stuff. They don't put up power lines. They don't do electric, they don't do the dangerous jobs. They don't do the jobs that have to be done. They don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, and as it should be, but men do. And instead of like how it used to be where, you had men that built blue collar guys that built society and maintained society. And then you had the guys that were, like high IQ that became stockbrokers and marketing experts and blah, 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 economists and shit. But they realized that it's like, well, really, we don't need the men to provide those services. Women can do that. And women will spend more of that money, you see. So what we need to do is get those men into positions that will give them just enough money so that they can start families and do that, But like, there's no doubt in my mind that women are in all of the upper echelon of society, not because they're better, not because society does better, or not for any sort of like value. Like nobody's lives are getting better because of it. except for business owners, except for businesses. Like, they're kicking ass and taking names because of, like, seriously, you know, these women that are making over 100 grand, you know, they're not actually saving any money. Yeah, they don't, they have less 401ks. Like, that's crazy. They're making all this money, but they don't have anything to show for it typically. They found a way to make Americans poorer by they're making us poorer by doing this. All of us, men and women. Do you realize that, right? Because men save money, they invest in their kids, they invest in their homes and shit. They took those jobs away from men so that they're not able to save anymore. They're not able to invest as much in their kids or their homes. They're just barely getting by, if that at all. They're not even getting by. I mean, most men are, they don't even have a family. But like, they figured out a way to impoverish us, to knock us down, like knock our standards of living, like objectively and measurably. Like, it's incredible, man. This shit is incredible. I've never once heard somebody point this out, dude. Like, this, they've made Americans poor. People say, what, life has just gotten a lot tougher. Things have just changed. Those, like, there are reasons why things have gotten tougher. None of us have really know why, because, we're kind of just given half-ass answers and we go along with it and just accept it. But, like, no, they have done, these are concerted efforts to steal from us and to enslave us, more or less, to make us serfs. I mean, bro, to be honest with you, man, like, I just get less and less interested in participating anymore. Like, straight up, man. I honestly, I don't even want to participate anymore. It's like, bro, they've taken everything, and whatever we do have left, they will take that eventually. And you see Warren Buffett, oh man, look at all the West has accomplished, and we did it with only half of our talent. We got to get those women in the office, we'd be doing much better. Like, bro, I don't, like, it's like, I don't even want to fucking be a part of this shit anymore. Like, I wish I could just go to an island and fucking do it, just chill, man. Like, I don't want to take part in it anymore. It's so evil, and they just, nothing, it never goes up. The graph goes up for the businesses, but it never goes up for us. It's always declining, always declining, always declining. I mean, it's like, that's our lot in life, man. Life gets harder for us. It doesn't get easier, it gets harder. Times get tougher. And here they are doing the shell game. How can we swindle them out of their fucking money? How can we swindle them out of more money? How can we extract and wring a little bit more value out of our people without disrupting families, without disrupting or causing a decline in the, you know what I mean? Like, of course they don't want it. They don't want the birth rate to, they don't want us to stop. They want it to be a well-oiled machine where people replace themselves. They're constantly replacing themselves with new slaves, more and more slaves. And they got away with it for a long time. But, it's like a Jenga tower. You can only pull so many blocks out before it all comes crashing down and people realize that, you have stolen from them. You have, things are different. You've taken from them. Like, honestly, I really, like, why has nobody ever noticed this before? That this was legit a fucking wealth transfer. All of our lives are tougher. All of us have a lower standard of living today because of this shit. And all you need to do is look at the habits of the sexes. And it's plain as fucking day why this shit was done. Plain as day, man. It's like, it's all just a fucking facade, man. It's all just It's all bullshit, bro. Like the whole America and the a democracy. It's just fucking bullshit, bro. It's literally window dressing. I mean, like, and just like I've said this before, but it really is just modern feudalism. Like, bro, we are on a fucking plantation. We are essentially wage slaves. Like, it's not really all that inviting. Like, you know, I'm kind of like, I'm not even that upset about it because I really haven't tried all that much. Like, I've kind of just spent, I kind of knew it was bullshit from the beginning and never really ever, like, I'm not really interested in putting in a maximum effort. Hmm. 5 at 11 p.m. Okay, so it'll be live in 30 minutes. I'm gonna take a 5 minute break, or no, I'm gonna take a 10 minute break, and then come back, and I'll do a couple more. Until he starts, I'll select something. But yeah, I'm gonna take a 10 minute break. Hmm. this fucking timer to work. I'm just gonna do 5 minutes. Let's start. I'll get back. Oh, did it switch back? Huh. I set up some countdown things so that they automatically switch between, like, it does 20 minutes of stream and then 3 minutes of break, and it does it automatically where it switches through the scenes for me. So I want to, like, I'm just gonna do it that way where I just have it automatic. Cause I start getting like fucking hoarse in the voice and shit. Like when I just go for 2 or 3 hours straight, I would rather have something a little bit more structured than that. Mm. You know, it's not that I'm trying to be like TYT. I'm trying to make it a better experience for you guys, to be honest. Like actually make it better. Because if I take 3 minute breaks every 20 minutes, I can do the ads during the break. So you can just, so you know that the ads are coming and you can fucking, take a bathroom break or some shit. Instead of you getting hit with the ads in the middle of the Nick Fuentes stream, in the middle of me saying something, that won't happen. You'll get hit with all the ads before Nick comes on. And they will be structured. I mean, never mind, bro. Like, right now I have no control over the ads. I just put in mid, like where it does in the middle, I guess, because it could go higher, it could go lower, but I just choose mid and it does, like, I guess, an average amount of ads. I have no idea how many ads play. I don't know when they play, nothing. I have no control over them. I would, like, I'm talking about switching it over and doing them manually so that I can still get the ad revenue and it won't be so goddamn inconvenient. Man, I'm really getting sick of that stupid sound effect. Fuck, stop it. Yeah, Nick should be on in, I guess, 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes. At least that's when he says. I could make a lot more money too by putting in at the highest amount of ads. Like, my revenue would go up. I'd probably make quite a bit more every month. As it is now, I make like a few $100s, if that, a month. I'll put you in as a regular red. I didn't even realize, but I forgot that I had the joke thing on. You can tell the chat, or you type in exclamation joke, and it will tell a joke. Huh? No shit. Huh. Funny. Fuck. Wow. Hey, where? Hey, no. Why in a stupid ass sound? Oh, why it does that perfect when people chat. I know. I know why. We do a little trolling. We do a little trolling. Come on. Come on. Pain in the ears. Yeah, red. That's right. Forgot about him. Whoever it is. Yeah, I added you as a regular, Red, so that shit will leave you alone. Where's the live? Somebody said, "Where's the live chat tonight?" Huh. Really isn't much on tonight on YouTube. Aqua Teen Hunger Force. That's about it. Wow. Jake Zula, the Mike Rula, the old schooler, #1 in the hood. G. Huh. you. Yeah, he sent out his America First is Live thing about a minute ago, so should be on any second. I love that switch click sound. That shit sounds so cool. It's like a, it's crazy. Since I broke my left hand, I've never been able to really snap. Like, it kind of sounds, but it's so like muted versus that. I remember for like a year, I could not even get my finger to snap. It was so weak. It was like, barely even get him to rub. And when I came back from when I broken hand healed and I went back to doing tree work, shit was crazy because I had to like, you have to rig logs and shit down out of the tree, rope them down. That one hand, I actually couldn't close my hand any tighter than this. It took me like 2 months to get to where I could actually clench my fist. I used to not believe that shit when people are like, oh, you have to relearn how to do stuff if you get injured. Like, bullshit. Like, I couldn't imagine it. Yeah, you definitely do. Like, it took me over a month before I could even grab a rope, like a big rope. I couldn't even grip it. Like, I had to wrap the fucking rope around my arm it was crazy. Or I would I would bring it around my back and like hold it with the other arm and use the friction of my rope around my waist. Project Pat. Huh. Fuck niggas with dick with all that pinching and bargaining. Listen here, Stoop. That car's got gears. It ain't no Ford. Listen here, Stoop. That car's got gears. It ain't no Ford. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, with the Model Ts and shit, like they didn't even have gears. They're like one gear. Like the Model T, like you had to, if you wanted gears, you had to spend a lot of money on a car.
Good evening, everybody. We're watching America First. My name is Nicholas J. Fuentes. We have a great show for you tonight. Very excited to be back here with you tonight on
bitches
Wednesday. We have a lot to talk about tonight, lots to get into. Big show. Our featured story tonight, we're talking about the imminent regime change in Cuba.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked a little bit about this on Monday. Or was it Monday? I think it might have been last week. This is coming on the heels of a significant meeting between the CIA director and Cuban leadership last week, I think, in Havana.
Castro with murder.
Cuba has officially run out of fuel and other oil products. They're out of energy, rolling blackouts lasting 22 hours a day. And in the context of everything that is happening in the Caribbean, now the United States has formally indicted the former president of the Cuban regime, Raul Castro. It was announced today by the Attorney General, Todd Blanche, in Miami, Florida. And that may not seem like a big deal. They indicted a former president. However, if you had been paying attention to recent events, you know that this is exactly what happened in Venezuela 6 months ago. Shortly before the United States extradited Nicolas Maduro from Caracas in the beginning of the year in January, it was precipitated by a DOJ indictment against him for a number of charges relating to gun smuggling and drug trafficking, among other things. And so it would tend to suggest that given the oil and energy blockade of Cuba, the CIA meeting last week, the introduction of a U.S. carrier strike group on the coast of Cuba earlier today, and now this indictment, all the signs are pointing towards potentially a military operation.
I also saw that a lot of our spy planes and our intel gathering planes, they're running routes all around Cuba the same way they did with Venezuela and Iran before the operations began,
which would seek to capture, extradite, and then charge Raul Castro in the United States, probably in a bid to decapitate the regime and install some kind of favorable government, or at least favorable new policies, especially as it pertains to Cuba's relationship with Russia and China. So we're going to talk all about that. We'll get into it. I have to say, I like it. I like that. And I'm tired of pretending that I don't. I don't know about you guys. Here's the thing. I like that the United States is a powerful empire. That makes me feel good. I am a citizen of the most powerful empire in the world. So when we go from country to country and we kidnap their leaders and we take control of their oil and their regime, I don't know, that's kind of awesome. That's kind of what we do. Like, that's who we are. And that's what we've always done. And I think we should do it more. Here's the problem. Here's the only problem. The only issue is that Jews control America. So they're making us do things that really are not in our best interest. That's the only problem with this. Imagine if instead of doing regime change in Iran, we were doing it in Canada. What if we invaded Canada and deported all the Indians? Would anyone have a problem? Seriously. People say, I'm a non-interventionist.
Our liberals would have a problem.
I don't think we should mess with other countries' national sovereignty. Okay, here's a counterpoint. What if we kidnapped the Prime Minister of Canada, invaded, and then we deported 20 million Indians and Pakistanis? Would anyone have a problem? Why don't we do that in our own
fucking country first?
Are you telling me you would be in the streets saying, hands off Canada,
no,
let
I'd be
those
like, where the
Indians
fuck are our
go,
deportations?
release them back into Toronto? Absolutely not. No, we would be cheering that on, and we would go there. I would sign up myself. And it would be totally asymmetrical. There'd be zero casualties. They would stand no chance. It wouldn't even be a fight. There'd be no risk of dying on our side. So I like that. I wish we would do more of that here. Canada, Greenland, Cuba, Venezuela, Mexico, Bolivia. So we'll talk about it. I think this is a great idea, and I absolutely support it. We'll talk about some of the risks. However, we will be serious and talk about some of the limitations. Here's the problem, is that the Cuban regime has been sputtering along for basically 60 years. And for just as much time, we have been waiting on them to collapse under the weight of their economic distress, but they just never seem to do that. And what happens, actually, is that Cuba just gets poorer and poorer, and the people have no food, and there's no electricity, and they're just running out of everything. And even if we wanted the people to rise up, they just couldn't because they're too hungry. Like, they're worried about eating every day.
Yeah.
So I don't know that the Cuban regime will collapse. That being said, I don't think that's necessarily the goal. The goal is simply to deprive the regime of resources, put them in an untenable situation so that they have no other choice but to negotiate. I think that's a smart and effective use. It's a restrained and economical use of U.S. military force. So we'll talk about it. We'll get into all the details. We're also going to talk tonight about the latest Department of Justice campaign to fight anti-Semitism. They're bringing Leo Terrell, who I think is their anti-Semitism envoy. He's this like black Jew worshiper on Twitter. And they're sending him on a national tour to 15 different cities to raise awareness for anti-Semitism. And what that looks like is, I guess they're going to try to increase reporting of anti-Semitic incidents in the city and on the university campuses and elsewhere.
People are fucking...
And you realize this is just like a Jewish police state. I don't even know what else to call it anymore. We live in absolute hell. And what's funny, there was a tweet that I posted right after Trump won the election in 2024. It's been making the rounds on Twitter. In November 2024, I posted, Trump 47 is going to be the most Zionist administration in U.S. history. And everybody clowned me for that. Everybody said, you're obsessed with Israel. It's going to be a golden age. You just don't want to win. Remember when they said that? They were saying, if you have any reservations about Trump, they said, they were trying to psychoanalyze us. They said, you just don't want to win because of your childhood, or you have this congenital need to always be the dissenting voice, the loser. I'm like, no. They just brought in Marco Rubio as the Secretary of State. The writing is on the wall. We know exactly what we're going to get. We were there the first time. It already happened. And anyway, case in point, in the middle of our unpopular war with Iran, economy's imploding, approval ratings are in the toilet. What are we doing? Well, the DOJ is bringing in some black Uncle Tom to preach about anti-Semitism on a nationwide tour. Great. Instead of getting ICE doing a 15-city tour and deporting every illegal alien, they're going to get some black pastor to do a 15-city tour to make sure that everyone gets narked on for anti-Semitism. They're going to go and tattle on everybody. It's becoming unbearable. It's getting to the point now where it feels like you can't live in America if you're anti-Semitic, and that's a problem. It's starting to feel like you can't live comfortably inside the United States if you're anti-Semitic, and I have a big problem with that. That's becoming a real issue. That's actually literally the case. I said this on Alex Jones yesterday. I know a not insignificant number of people that live in Europe and elsewhere. They cannot literally enter the country on a 3-month tourist visa because the State Department found them criticizing Israel on Twitter. What else do you call that? That's the mark of the beast. This is just like a Jewish occupied country. I'm so tired of pretending it isn't, and it's seriously pissing me off. And I'm going to do a show about it. So we're going to talk all about it. It's going to be a good show. Before we get into it, I want to remind you to smash the follow button on Rumble, smash the like button, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the show. Remember to check out our merch store, Fuentes.store. We have our spring and summer collection. Might be a part 2 on the way. There might be a part 2 summer release on the way just in time for 4th of July. Perhaps. But we have our brand new hat. We have the quarter zip as seen on Dave Smith. Did I not look so good? It was a little bit insulting though. Everybody was comparing my appearance on Dave Smith on Monday to my first appearance back in October. And everybody was saying, wow, you look so much skinnier. You look so much better. You really look smaxed. I can't believe it. He really locked in. But then it started to get a little bit mean. Like the tone started to change. And instead of saying I look so good now, people started to say I look like shit before. Someone made an AI image of my skinnier self bursting out of my fat, disgusting old self. I was like, I don't know if I actually appreciate that. I wasn't that fat. I wasn't actually that fat, guys. I got a little bit chubby. It happens. I made a lot of money. I was eating good. It happens, okay? So I don't know. That maybe crossed the line. That started to get a little bit hurtful. I guess I feel better that I'm skinny now. But as seen on Dave Smithy, this is just fresh. I don't care what any Gen X piece of trash says about it. This is fresh. This is cool. Memorial Day weekend, you want your white quarter zip with your white hat when you're on the yacht, when you're on Lake Michigan, when you're on Lake Como, when you're in New York City, when you're in Miami, you want the white quarter zip with the white hat. And did I not? I mean, I think I wore the shit out of it on Dave Smith. I think, if I do say so myself.
Dude.
So check it out, Fuentes.store. You know what dawned on me? I realized the other day, I did the math wrong. I actually lost 30 pounds. I don't know how I made this like basic math problem. I don't know how I got that wrong, but it dawned on me yesterday. I literally lost like 25 to 30 pounds. I didn't even know it was that much. I was like 155 at my peak, and now I'm at like 126. So I lost almost, can you believe that? And I didn't even exercise. That just goes to show you do not need to exercise at all.
No,
you
I
just
haven't
need to
been, and I
stop
lost
eating.
quite a few.
You don't need Ozempic. You don't need Retta. You don't need to lift weights. You don't need to exercise.
Stop drinking soda.
You don't need to go on a diet. You don't need to do any of these things. You just need to stop eating. And you know what's funny is I did a riff about this a long time ago, but whenever you talk to boomers, like I used to talk to my parents and they used to say this thing to me. They would say, if you stop eating, you actually gain more weight because you're tricking your body into thinking you're in starvation mode, so it hangs onto the fat.
It's bullshit.
You ever hear that?
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like I heard that a lot growing up. Like that's one of those things you just hear from people. My parents told me that when I stopped eating, and I'm like, you're wrong. It's just physics. If you stop eating, you will not be able to gain weight. It's a simple equation. But boomers have this like retarded idea, no offense to my parents or anyone who's ever said that, but they say, yeah, if you stop eating, it actually works the opposite. I'm like, no, I don't think that's true. I think if you eat more, you get fat. If you eat less, you get skinny. And I'm living proof. I guess we'll never know. I'm living proof. Yeah, I said this the other night, and Eating Disorder Twitter loved it. I'm borrowing this from a friend of mine. Nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. I didn't believe it, but now I believe it. When I was eating food like an absolute pig, I said there's nothing hits better than a large cheese pizza and a milkshake.
What a fat.
But now that I'm skinny, it's like, no, it's totally true. It's absolutely the case. Put the food down. Stop eating for me. Stop eating. Do it for me. Do it for America first. Do it for the groypers. No more fatties. No more disgusting pigs. We can't do it. Anyway, we are going to move on. We're going to get into the show. Before we get into the news, I also wanted to throw this out there. This was just like unbelievable. I shouldn't even go here, but I have to. So obviously yesterday, Thomas Massie lost his primary, and we had so many scorching hot takes, things I've never heard before. It was really unpredictable how everybody would respond, and the content was really fresh and engaging and interesting. Apparently, Israel poured all this money in, made him lose. It's an Israel-controlled government. So true. And okay, I covered this on my show last night. I delivered a spirited monologue about it. Let's just leave it at that, right? And I think it's pretty obvious what happened there. Thomas Massie has made an enemy out of the Israel lobby by voting against their war and voting against their Epstein cover-up and voting against their foreign aid. So what did they do? They injected $30 million into the race, and they got Trump to join the fight, and he lost his seat. And it's not hard to see why. It's not complicated. And who were the voters that made this happen? It was the boomers. Exit polling showed that every age cohort under the age of 55 preferred Thomas Massie. Everybody older than 55 preferred Ed Gallrein, who was Massie's opponent. And they were the majority of the electorate. It's the boomers, it's those late Gen Xers. Those are the people that really delivered the race. And it's not hard to see why. It's because they all watch Fox News. They are all Trump cultists. They are all pro-Israel. They are not on Twitter. They are on Truth Social. They are uncritically guzzling Truth Social, Jewish slop all day. They're watching Fox News. They're reading the New York Post. It's not hard to see why they voted for Thomas Massie's opponent. Well, then I wake up today and I go on Twitter and I see all of the usual suspects, the new thing that they're going with, the new thing that the low IQ anti-Semite crowd is going with. It's not enough to say that the Israel lobby pumped $30 million into the race. It's not enough to say that Trump and the GOP are a Jewish-controlled apparatus. It's not enough to say that Massie was unseated symbolically because we don't have sovereignty in our country. I wake up this morning and Health Ranger and Ryan Mata and all the usual suspects, all of the Charlie Kirk conspiracy theorists, they're all saying it was a stolen election. They're all looking at the size of the disparity in the vote. They're looking at the vote get from Ed Gallrein, comparing it to the vote get of the previous primary challenger, and they're saying he got 300% more votes? You seriously believe that? That's way too many votes. Something happened here. Now they're saying the election was stolen. They're saying that Israel stole the election with mail-in ballots like in 2020. And I don't know how much more of that I can really take. I'm so glad I got off that train early because it's just everything is like this now. Everything's a conspiracy. Everything's fake. And they don't even need any evidence. All they do is look at the information that's been reported. They know nothing about it. But then they'll say something like, that doesn't look right to me. It's a 300% increase. That seems crazy. It's like, really? Do you even know what you're talking about? Or are you just saying that?
Pause.
That's the new line, is the election was stolen. Why can't we just leave it at, yes, it was stolen. How did they steal it? They spent $30 million. Right. Isn't that enough for you? AIPAC and the Republican Jewish Coalition, this is as Jewish as it gets. They pumped $20 to $30 million into the race. Trump came in very strongly, and Trump had a great record last night. All of the candidates that he endorsed, I think it was like 39-0, 42-0, something like that. They all won their races. Isn't that enough? Isn't it enough to say that Israel bought the race and Thomas Massie lost and they did it as retribution for his vote? Why then do we have to go somewhere else where it's totally unproven, totally speculative? You have no proof of that. There is no evidence of that. There is no proof of that. There's no audit of the ballot. There's no forensic evidence. There are no rumblings. There's no smoke. There's no nothing. Why do we have to take it there and discredit ourselves and look like absolute idiots? Now they want to, it's not enough to say Israel spent $30 million as retribution. Now we have to engage in wild speculation and say, not only that, but it was mail-in ballot fraud. The gap was 10,000 votes and Ed Gallrein had 10,000 mail-in ballots. Okay, well, Thomas Massie had 8,000. So what's your point? That's where you lose me. And think about how much we can say in general about what is happening in the country. How many of the things that are happening in the country are not conspiracy theories in the sense that they're facts, provable, unambiguous, undeniable facts. You have the acquisition of TikTok by Larry Ellison. You have the deplatforming and defunding of Harvard and the Ivy Leagues to bring in a pro-Israel curriculum. You have the State Department banning people from going to the World Cup if they criticized Israel. They're denaturalizing citizens that have criticized Israel. We're in a war with Iran. They want a 20-year memorandum of understanding with like $15 billion a year in aid or something crazy like that. They want a $1.5 trillion military budget for this year alone. These are all facts. Isn't that enough? CBS is run by Barry Weiss, and she hired a Jewish Zionist, Tony Dokapil, who humiliated Ta-Nehisi Coates last year as their lead news anchor. All of these things are happening in real life. It's not speculation. It's not theoretical. They're facts, and anyone has to engage with those set of facts, and they all point to one unignorable conclusion, which is that a Jewish oligarchy has too much power in the country. Even the Epstein files. You can look in the Epstein files and see the name Ronald Lauder all over them. Ronald Lauder is in business with Epstein in these files, talking to him. He appears, I think, almost 100 times in the files. Ronald Lauder is the head of the World Jewish Congress. He led the boycott against University of Pennsylvania for tolerating anti-Israel protests. His son-in-law, Kevin Warsh, is the new chair of the Federal Reserve. Nobody wanted to talk about that. They wanted to talk about whether Epstein was a vampire.
What?
They wanted to talk about whether Trump was eating fecal matter out of children's intestines from their open stomachs.
Ow, bro.
And they wanted to talk about vampires, giants. Ronald Lauder is in that files 100 times in black and white, clear as crystal, but you don't want to talk about that. So this is my problem.
That's not sensational.
Once again, yesterday, you've got this airtight narrative. The Israel lobby spent $20 million. It is a brazen, open, blatant, naked exercise of Jewish power in our domestic political process, where they single-handedly unseated Thomas Massie because he didn't go along with their most heinous policies. But that's not good enough. Now we got to go to Dominion voting machines. I saw somebody in the replies say, we didn't kidnap Maduro for his chili recipe. Why did we kidnap Maduro then? Because he had the keys to the voting machines to rig it against Massie? Are you crazy? Or boomers just watch Fox News. And you know who runs Fox News? Rupert Murdoch. And you know who Rupert Murdoch supported in 2020 in Israel? Bibi Netanyahu's prime minister campaign. So why do we even have to take it there? And it's sad because you want to have this ecumenical mentality that we're all going to be critical of Israel. We're all going to be on the same team. And then you realize a lot of these people are just idiots. And God help us if they ever get anywhere near power. What is going to be, you tell me, what is going to be the campaign in 2028? It's going to be a collection of alternative medicine gurus, MMA fighters, random conspiracy theorists that used to deliver Domino's pizzas. It's going to be hijabi Muslims. This is going to be the coalition. That's going to be our electoral coalition. Well, let's see. We got the MMA fighters on lock. We got the alternative health experts that are pushing ivermectin to cure cancer and drinking their own urine. We got that covered. We got the hijabis. We have the anti-ICE leftists that want to do a land acknowledgement at the rally. Okay, I think we're in good shape. I think in 2028, this is going to be it. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't want anything to do with any of that. That's just like a disgusting freak show, and it's retarded, and I want nothing to do with that. You want to talk about Dominion voting machines and vampires and astral projection, just leave me out of that. So I saw that this morning, and honestly, I could not believe it. I'm like, wow, we're really doing this all over again. Here we are again. And they're all pushing it. I think the election was stolen on top of it. You're like, I should have predicted it. Should have been predictable, and yet it still amazes me. I said on Telegram, Gucci backpack, let it go. He lost. And I'm going to say something else that's going to be a little bit controversial about Thomas Massie. I feel like he didn't really fight that hard.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just being honest. When people say things like, I think he should run for president, I think he, people ask me, who do you want to run in 28? Is it going to be Massey? It does nothing for me. It really does nothing. And by that, people are going to say, oh, you're a narcissist. I mean, it's not compelling to me. I feel like if you're under siege by the Israel lobby, you need to make your whole platform, I'm in a war, like make the race a proxy war against the Israel lobby. If you're going to be a martyr, if you're going to lose your seat anyway, then go down
Hang
swinging
it on their fucking
and do
heads.
some big rallies and, hey, yeah, get with the streamers and make it about that.
Right? Make sure that they go down.
But I feel like all
People
these
know that they did
tweets
that.
and rallies, they were just so like low energy and passive aggressive and kind of sad victim mentality. Trump is beating up on me. The Israelis are beating up on me. I wish there would have been a little bit more of a fight. I was thinking about this last night. I was thinking, why did it just never click for me with Massey? And I think on some level it's because I just don't see an icon. I don't see the vision. When I see a guy like
never saw it
Fishback,
either.
I see energy. I see young people. I see rallies. I see him doing 2 rallies every day in real life. I see him on the campuses at IHOP, at Waffle House, at a gas station, at a taqueria. I see him streaming with Sneeko. I see him doing collabs with live streamers. I see him on Instagram doing a digital campaign. And when he's talking, it's bold. He's saying, yeah, we're going to tax OnlyFans 100%, and we're banning data centers, and we're banning dual citizens. And, I see fire. I see heat. I see energy. I see Vishnu. I see a man against time. I see a man above time, a man against time. And when I see Thomas Massey, I see this guy in glasses who does this sort of thing where it's sort of like hands in pockets. So we don't have money for a bridge, but we have money for Israel. Yeah, okay.
I felt the same
You're
way the whole
darn
time.
tootin'. $3.8 billion for Israel, and we can't even balance the budget. All right, okay. I guess that makes a lot of sense. Am I right, folks? You're like, no, bro, bring fire, bring... What happened to fire and fury? What happened to we're going to do things to you that have never been done before? That's why we like Trump. We have to remember, why did we like Trump? It wasn't all substance. It was also style. He was forceful. He was big. He was a fighter. He was a winner. His name is Triumph. Triumphant. Versus this... And I'm not knocking him. I mean, I think Massey's an honorable man, and everything I said last night stands, and everything like that. But I wish it would have turned into the proxy war that it should have been. I saw, and here's how you know, if you're unconvinced by this, you think I'm a terrible person. He ran an ad in his district that was supporting Trump. I saw he ran an ad, this was on Twitter, where he's saying, I voted with Trump 90% of the time, and the 10% I didn't, well, I was being principled. And you're like, that's the message? Like, dude, Trump is bitching you out. Trump is eating your lunch. He is drinking your milkshake.
Damn right he was.
He is banging your wife.
He literally
He
went
is on
directly
True
for
Social
Massey.
motherfucking you every week out of
Attacked
pure
him
spite
personally.
and vengeance. And you're running ads in your district, ball washing him and saying, hey, I know you think me and the
Trump's
president are
not being
fighting. It's
fair.
a little difference of opinion. I vote with them most of the time.
And he's not being fair.
Like, who could get behind that? Like, what's the message? I'm confused. Is this a proxy war about our Zionist occupied government? Are you trying to convince us that Trump is
Massey just wasn't really a leader.
really that mad at you? So I saw that and I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, what this movement represents, among many other things, is that we want to fight to win. I say this all the time. Why are we voting Democrat? Why are we not getting behind people that lose primaries? Because I want to win. Why don't I support the National Socialist black shirts in Australia? Because I want to win. I don't want to lose gracefully. I don't want to lose valiantly. I don't want to lose honorably. I don't want to say, at least I took a risk, because I don't want to lose. I want to win.
If I'm going to lose, I'd rather not
anything
take
that I
the
go
risk.
out and try to do politically or in the media market or anywhere, I want to win in any way, shamelessly,
That was
with
something that I
no
admired
remorse,
about
with
Trump.
no scruples. It
didn't give
doesn't
a
matter.
fuck,
I
man.
want to win. And so the battles that I see us winning are in Ohio. When Vivek Ramaswamy loses the governorship and Amy Acton takes office, I want to be on the winning side, and I want to gloat and say, fuck you. You betrayed us, and now we made you lose because we are where
Go
the
back to
energy
your
is. I want to
fucking
win. And the same goes for the midterm elections. I want to be on the Democrat side when they take the House, and when they impeach Trump and when they subpoena everybody, I want to be gloating with the Democrats. And I want to see the Republicans coping and seething and saying, I can't believe you did that to us. This is really unfair. You are unprincipled. That is the talk of the defeated. That is the talk of the conquered. That is the talk of the people that were not able to get their way. And that's what I
Loser
want.
talk.
Because you know what is happening? And I said this in the $100 a month club group chat earlier, actually last night. Let's say I went out and I got behind Casey Push in Ohio. He lost. Let's say I went out and got behind Thomas Massey in Kentucky. He lost. Let's say I went out and got behind Dan Bilzerian in Florida. He's going to lose. Let's say I go out behind, in South Carolina, the guy that's running against Lindsey Graham. He loses. You know what they say? They say, wow, Groypers are 0-4. They lose every single time. And you know what the Mark Levins and
Saying,
the
looks like
Lomez's
they
and
don't
Chris
help. They
Rufos
just
and other
lose.
Joe Lonsdale,
drag
you know what the
Nick.
douchebags of the world get to say? They get to say, you
win.
lose, the internet isn't real life, we won, you have no political impact. And I don't go and get behind losers. I don't want to feel that way. And I don't think that actually benefits us at all. I don't like any of that. So that all the more reason, after what happened in Ohio, after what happened in Kentucky, after what has been happening all this time, I am doubling down on, we need to find battles that we can win. We have the benefit of being able to pick and choose. We get to be selective where we intervene. I didn't support Casey Push. I didn't really, I wanted Thomas Massey to win, but we did nothing in Kentucky because I don't want to select races where we're not going to be able to make a difference. We have to choose our battles carefully, choose the ones where we can make impact, choose the ones where we have a shot at winning. And I have a great record. We made Joe Kent lose his election. I think that's the only one that we really went all out for. And you know what the effect was? I remember Joe Kent had a conversation with one of Paul Gosar's people, and after Joe Kent was licking his wounds, he said, you know what? It's a crying shame. Paul Gosar raised tens of thousands of dollars with the Groyper fundraiser. I lost my race by 1,000 votes. I guess it could have went differently.
Ooh.
That's how we want our enemies to see
yeah.
us.
That
That's how we want our friends and our enemies to
Nick
see us.
over.
They don't want to see us as a bunch of suckers that just go out for the love of the game. So this is just a little riff about where we are in these midterm elections. I saw what happened to Thomas Massey, and like I said, it's emblematic of what's happening. It's deeply symbolic and everything. I almost think in some ways it's a good thing he lost because it gives us a narrative. And now we get to say Thomas Massey opposed the Israel lobby. They poured money in his district. We have an Israel-controlled government. In some ways, maybe that is a meta-political victory because otherwise, what would have been the future? Let's say he holds on to his seat. He goes into Congress. It's a Democrat majority anyway. He's not even a swing vote. I think that's maybe as good as it's going to get. Controversial, I know, but listen, we have to think strategically. We can't think with our hearts. We can't think with our feelings. It's not a movie. It's not a big impassioned, sentimental speech about we're going to get out there and, whatever. We have to be absolutely ruthless and strategic and think only about how we're going to take power. Not all this sucker stuff about, oh, it's such a shame what happened to all these losers that tried and failed. I don't want that to be our story. I want our story to be these ruthless fanatics that did absolutely everything and anything, and in the end, they pulled it off because they were the most serious about winning. That's the story that I want to hear. I want to hear the story about those people that lied, cheated, and stole. And they went on the battlefield and they were innovative and they were progressive and they left nothing on the field. And they did things that people never even imagined a person could do. And in the end, they took power and changed history. That's the story I want to tell. Not all these people that went out and gave it a try and lost, and then they went home and cried about it and said how everything was just unfair and it was pretty good considering they got in late and didn't have a lot of money. And man, the world is just such an unfair place. Why bother then? So anyway, that's that. But I do want to move on. I want to get into our news here. I want to get into our actual current events. Those are just some thoughts on this discourse that's been happening on the dissident right about, whether people are going to do things or broadcast online and what our role in the midterms will be. We need a different kind of mindset. I don't like this other nonsense that is going on. It's like you have these like politically incorrect comedians, alternative health people, MMA fighters, hijabi Muslims, left-wing pieces of shit and communists all getting together and, bitching about all their losing. It's just a gross, ghettoized thing. And we have to separate ourselves from the misery. So much of life is just about who you associate with. Some people like being miserable and like losing. I want to win. I want to be around other people that want to win. Anyway, we are going to move on. I want to get into our featured story tonight. It's all about the imminent regime change in Cuba. Big story. And we talked about this. I don't know if it was on Monday or if we covered it on Thursday. I believe it was Monday. But it seems like there's been a lot of movement in the Caribbean, and we knew it was going to go here eventually. After the Trump administration extradited the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, at the beginning of January, we saw that the grand strategy of the second Trump administration was a lot more ambitious in the Western Hemisphere than just continuing their maximum pressure campaign against Venezuela. In the first term, Trump administration tried to overthrow Maduro and failed. In the second term, we kidnapped him. And shortly after, there was a new policy taking shape where we saw that Venezuela was just the first step in a much bigger plan. And so after Maduro was extradited in January, we sent our energy secretary, we sent our intelligence community officials, State Department officials down to Caracas, and we effectively took control over their government. We took control over their energy, we took control over some of their other policies. And after we took control of Venezuela, we used our leverage there and in Mexico to shut down all of their oil shipments to Cuba. Cuba relies on Mexico and Venezuelan oil for something like 80 to 90% of their energy mix. They are totally dependent on Mexico and Venezuela for all of their energy needs. And so we used our relationship and our leverage over Mexico, which we have because of our significant trade relationship with them. And we used our power over Venezuela after the extradition to get them to effectively stop exporting oil to Cuba. In addition to that, we implemented a military naval blockade of Cuba, preventing other countries from shipping oil to the island. And what that started was a multi-month process of slowly starving Cuba of oil. And a country can't run without energy. You can't have electricity, you can't have transportation, you can't have industry. So we have been slowly strangling Cuba for the past 5 months. And the ultimate goal of this Venezuela policy was eventually that this would give way to a domino-like effect where taking out Venezuela would lead to a similar regime change in Cuba. And overthrowing Cuba would lead to a similar regime change maybe in Nicaragua. And once you take out this triangulation of revisionist states inside the Caribbean and Latin America, then the United States arguably has no strategic rivals with any kind of foothold in the Western Hemisphere. That was the goal. And this has been a long-standing U.S. geostrategic doctrine. It actually started under the Biden administration. It was called the New Monroe Doctrine, and initially we sought to overturn some critical elections like in Argentina with the election of Milei, in Peru, in Ecuador, in Bolivia, and then under the Trump administration it was a lot more militaristic. And so this is where we are. Now, earlier in the week, there was a high-level meeting in Cuba's capital, Havana, between our CIA director, John Ratcliffe, and their leadership, and the United States expressed our demands to the Cuban government, and we said that initially we are seeking political and economic reform. We want the Communist Party to not have a complete stranglehold over their economy and their political system, and specifically, maybe the most specific policy demand that we have is that we want Cuba to shut down the Russian and Chinese listening posts or surveillance stations that are operated by Russia and China on the Cuban island. So that meeting was on Monday. And it seems that the Cuban regime, at least what they say, is that they are open to negotiating. However, they say they don't trust the United States. Well, in the aftermath of that meeting, today, it was announced by the Department of Justice that we are indicting the former president of Cuba, Raul Castro. He's the former first secretary of Cuba's Communist Party, no longer really in power, but his family still runs the country. So we indicted their former president, and simultaneously we sent a carrier strike group, a Nimitz-class U.S. carrier, to the Caribbean off the coast of Cuba. Now, what is significant about the simultaneous indictment and the carrier strike group is that this mirrors the precipitating actions that led to the extradition of Maduro and Venezuela at the beginning of this year. How did we go about the operation in Venezuela?
Managil says, I met a redhead.
First, of course, we sent our Navy there. We deployed about 20,000 U.S. personnel, couple dozen warships, and we started carrying out these operations against their drug smuggling boats off the coast. And then I believe there was at least one operation carried out on the ground in Venezuela. After these operations, the DOJ announced the indictment. They announced charges against Maduro. Shortly after that, there was a huge air campaign in Venezuela to shut down all of their surveillance and reconnaissance capabilities. We kidnapped Maduro, and we took control over the country. So it would follow that after a 6-month blockade of Cuba's energy, and after we indict their president, and after we send a carrier strike group there, then maybe something like what we did in Venezuela is imminent in Cuba. And this is a story, this is from the New York Times. It says, quote, the Justice Department announced charges against Raul Castro, the 94-year-old former president of Cuba, accusing him of murder and a conspiracy to kill American citizens stemming from the fatal downing 30 years ago of 2 planes over waters off the coast of his country. At a news conference in Miami, the acting Attorney General Todd Blanche accused Castro of killing 4 people when the Cuban military shot down their planes on the afternoon of February 24th, 1996. The planes were operated by Brothers to the Rescue, a Cuban exile group that scoured the seas for Cubans fleeing the country. Fidel Castro took responsibility for downing the planes shortly after they were brought from the sky, claiming that the organization had been dropping anti-regime leaflets over Havana in earlier flights. The indictment said that Raul Castro was also responsible because he and his brother were the final decision makers in the Cuban military chain of command. Blanche sidestepped questions about whether the indictment was a prelude to U.S. military action, saying that the decision rested with Mr. Trump and his foreign policy team. And this is the most important part. Blanche said that a warrant had been issued for the arrest of Raul Castro, although it's unlikely that the Cubans would turn him over. In a statement, Mr. Blanche nevertheless said he does expect Mr. Castro to eventually show up in the United States, whether by his own will or another way. So what does that mean? The DOJ indicts Raul Castro for this incident that took place literally 30 years ago. Now, why do you release an indictment like that? He lives in Cuba. He don't live in the United States. He lives in Cuba. So the United States is effectively saying, we have a warrant out for your arrest. You're under arrest for shooting down these planes 30 years ago. And the Cuban government is going to say, okay, great. Well, he's not going anywhere. He's not going to voluntarily turn himself in, and the Cuban regime is not going to extradite him to the United States. And yet, the acting attorney general says, well, I can't talk about a military operation, but we indicted him because we expect him to eventually be held accountable in a U.S. court of justice. Cubans won't extradite the brother of their revolutionary founding father of their nation. How else is he going to go here other than a U.S. military operation? At the same time, same day, this is also from the Times. It says the aircraft carrier Nimitz and its escort warships entered the southern Caribbean Sea today and will remain in the region for at least a few days as part of the Trump administration's campaign to pressure the Cuban government. Right now, the administration intends to use the Nimitz and its wing of fighter jets as a show of force, not as a platform for major military operations. And maybe it is, and maybe it isn't. But clearly, there's two things going on here. One of two things is happening. Either the administration is doing this as a show of force, and it's a bluff, which Trump is very fond of. He's trying to create the impression that we are about to go in. If we see this, then the administration knows this is the signal they're putting out, and the Cubans see it just as clearly as we do. They know what happened in Venezuela. It was about 100 Cuban intelligence officers, which protect Maduro, that were killed in that operation. So they know exactly how that went down. They know how the United States built up to an intervention, and they see the exact same thing happening here. The indictment, the carrier strike group, the negotiations with the CIA, all of that was happening in Venezuela, even up to and including a deal. Rick Grenell, a special envoy in the administration, was pursuing a diplomatic track with the Maduro regime, and they communicated the White House demands saying, we need you to realign away from Russia and China. We want your oil. And the Maduro regime actually agreed to all of those concessions. The only sticking point in their deal is that the Secretary of State Rubio insisted it's not good enough that Venezuela align with Washington. It's not good enough that they give us their oil. It's not good enough that they let U.S. companies return and either collect the money that is owed to them or they're going to invest in Venezuela's infrastructure. Rubio said, we want Maduro out of power as well. And that's where Caracas drew the line. And they said, we will be loyal to you. We'll give you the oil and all the rest of it, but Maduro stays. Obviously, because Maduro is the head decision maker. So what good is the deal to him as a man if he doesn't get to cash in on it, if he doesn't get to remain not only in power, but a free man? Similarly, in Cuba, you have John Ratcliffe, CIA director in Havana, and what's he saying? He's saying, yeah, the Communist Party needs to loosen its grip on the economy and the political system. We want Russian and Chinese listening posts out of your country. And if you can do these things, then we're open to discussing a different kind of bilateral relationship. Well, just the same, it seems that the Cubans are reluctant really to engage in good faith negotiations. According to the New York Times, they said, we are serious about engaging with Washington about these reforms. However, we don't trust them. And almost certainly, the Cubans are not going to hand over Raul Castro. And that sounds identical to the situation in Venezuela. Yes, we'll talk, but we're a little bit reluctant. And no, we're not going to give over our head decision maker. So what options is Washington really left with here? Well, it seems like just the same thing we did in Venezuela, which is the plan is we're going to go in, we're going to pick up Raul Castro, we're going to pick up the sitting president, and then once we have decapitated the very top of the regime, then we can dictate the terms for the Cuban regime to survive. Simultaneously, and this is a little bit worrisome, there was a report a couple of days ago that said the Cuban regime is stockpiling hundreds of drones, that Cuba has 400 FPV drones, and that in the event of a U.S. operation in Cuba, they would use those drones against the United States. Now, people have pointed out this sounds a lot like Operation Northwoods, which is a declassified CIA plan, which said that the intelligence community would stage a false flag terrorist attack on U.S. soil on the Gulf of Mexico, blame it on the Cuban regime, and that would be the justification for another attempt at regime change in Cuba after the failed Bay of Pigs in, what was that, 61 or 62? So this was a declassified plan from the, I believe, late 60s, early 70s. They said, we're going to do a series of bombings. They will be carried out by U.S. intelligence. We're going to blame them on the Cubans, and then that will rally the public for a war. So now this is where it gets interesting. So after we did what we did to Venezuela, we indicted Cuba's president. The CIA director is down there negotiating. We have a carrier strike group, and I would say that the U.S. military is not really in a position at this point to engage Cuba, because obviously we're involved in some other stuff in Iran. We have 2 carrier strike groups in the Middle East. Another one has just left. I believe that's the Gerald Ford. Left the theater as of last week. But we are potentially preparing for another round of strikes against Iran with Israel. We are engaged in intense negotiations with the Gulf states about the timeline for this and what it will include. I'm sure there's a lot of operational planning, given that Iran is apparently capable now of defending their airspace. We're talking about putting boots on the ground in the islands. So unlike the beginning of the year when we had 2 carrier strike groups in the Caribbean and very little was happening in the Middle East, now the situation is reversed. So in this context, we're apparently bluffing against Cuba, threatening, saber-rattling that we're really gonna do it. If you don't make the requisite concessions, then we're gonna give you the Venezuela treatment. At the same time, they're also predictive programming this Cuban plot to launch drones against the Gulf of America, against maybe Florida, Louisiana, Texas. And I will say this. Yes, there's a very good chance that that might be or could be a false flag. I will also say this is just inevitably where things are going in the world. Ever since, let's say, the second or third year of the war in Ukraine, drones have dominated warfare. The war in Ukraine is now a drone war. They have had to change tactics. They have had to change procurement, military strategy, everything because of the introduction of these cheap first-person view drones. They're putting them tethered to fiber optic cables. They've invented these new jamming technologies. They're sending out vehicles with very sophisticated jammers and so on. That is the story in Ukraine. That is also increasingly the story in the Persian Gulf. No longer is it even so much a war of ballistic and cruise missiles. Now it's a war of drones. It's these Shahed drones that Iran is deploying, and the United States has copied their drone model and is using it against them, using them on these littoral ships that we had no use for as a platform to now launch Iranian copycat drones against themselves. So is it outside the realm of possibility that Cuba has studied what has been happening in Ukraine? They studied what has been happening in Iran. They studied what happened in Venezuela. And what now is the defensive deterrent against the superpower? It seems like it would be drones. And given Cuba's proximity to the United States, it would not be hard. It would not be hard. If they had hundreds or thousands of drones, they could surely source them from China. They could surely source them from Russia or Iran. Put them in a shipping container, and who knows? Could they send that to the coast of the United States? Could they launch them from Cuba? I mean, and I don't want to fearmonger on behalf of the Pentagon. I'm not trying to do that, but these are just realities. Last June, the United States launched an operation inside Russia. It was called Operation Spiderweb. And what we did is we put hundreds of drones inside a shipping container that looks like any other shipping container you would see on a truck or a cargo ship or a train. We put hundreds of drones on a shipping container. Ukraine sent these trucks inside Russia across the border, and they went throughout Russia. And then the activation trigger was given, and all these drones emerged from the cargo ships, and they targeted Russia's strategic air force, which is tasked with delivering nuclear bombs in the event of a nuclear conflict. And we damaged their strategic air force using these hundreds of drones launched from inside their country. By the way, Israel did the same thing to Iran right around the same time. It was only a couple of weeks after Operation Spiderweb that when Israel launched Operation Rising Lion against Iran on June 12th, they actually launched missile and drone attacks from inside Iranian territory against the regime. It was a multi-domain operation where they first launched a cyber attack to disable command, control, and communications, intelligence, reconnaissance, and surveillance inside Iran. And then it was drones and shoulder-mounted missiles from inside the country against Iran's leadership, bases, all their other regime and military targets. And so clearly, all of the U.S. adversaries, they see that the Trump administration is actually a very aggressive revisionist power. We are not content to stabilize the status quo. We are trying to revise it. That is why the United States is pursuing regime change in Venezuela, in Iran, clearly has designs on Cuba. Is it outside the realm of possibility that Cuba has acquired drones? And the United States seems to have no comprehensive defense against this. There have been, if you've been paying attention, there have been a lot of stories recently about drone sightings on the Gulf of Mexico, in Texas. There was a story, I don't know why nobody followed up on this, but there was a story about a United Airlines flight that was hit in a drone strike flying into San Diego. And that's how the airline described it. They said a United Airlines flight flying into San Diego was hit by a drone. Could be a false flag, could be real. These are the realities of drone warfare. And so let's say we go into Cuba. Is that a real risk? Is that a real threat that's posed to the United States? You could say, and it counts exactly the other way too, might that be used as a justification for some kind of more expanded operation against Cuba? Certainly possible. I will say, though, that whether it's a false flag or whether it isn't, these are capabilities that exist. And by the way, all the more reason that I am actually in favor of this revisionist New Monroe Doctrine. I am all in. I totally support this. And I'll tell you why. Why do we oppose the war in Iran? 1, we can't win. 2, it's on the other side of the world. 3, Iran is not really our enemy. And 4, even if, let's say, we entertain the notion that they are a rival that might threaten our strategic interests, it is more economical and makes more strategic sense to make a deal with them. And this, by the way, also has to do with the range of their capabilities. Iran has a huge stockpile of missiles and they have a giant arsenal of drones. But do you know that none of those capabilities can touch the United States? Not one of them. Yes, they can potentially reach Diego Garcia. Yes, they could potentially reach Europe. But that's not our problem. They don't have ICBMs. They don't have weapon systems that can deliver a payload to the United States. So it's not a threat to us. Leave them alone. It does not matter. What does matter is that if we ever engaged China in a shooting war, if we ever engaged Russia in a shooting war, well, their allies, Venezuela and Cuba, they are in striking distance of the United States. It's just true. In the same way that we are putting missile systems disguised as containers, containerized missile systems that are being deployed in Guam and Philippines, that are being hidden from Chinese surveillance, that will be used to deny a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. You don't think China has the exact same capabilities? And why do you think they're so interested in getting a trade relationship with Central and South America? Why do you think they're buying all these ports in Port-au-Prince, in Jamaica, in Cuba, on those islands, in Peru? It's because they are preparing for a future global conflict. And if or when they decide to try to break out of that first island chain and they make a move on Taiwan, and let's say they make a move elsewhere, how are they going to deter the United States from sustaining Taiwan's defenses? They're going to make it hurt in America. It only makes common sense. Let's say, for example, like we did in Iran, we kill Iran's supreme leader, we sink their navy, we bomb them 15,000 times. How do they retaliate? Well, they don't have the kinds of resources that China has, but they'll use their drones to close the strait. And they'll use their drones against our bases, and they'll use their drones and missiles against Israel and the Gulf countries. And they'll make it very economically painful for us so that we stop doing what we're doing. Because that's the nature of warfare. It's not just about operations, it's also about logistics, supply chains, and wartime economy. Now, let's say China invades Taiwan. We're going to have to arm the Taiwanese. We're going to have to arm them with different kinds of systems that we've given to the Gulf. And we're going to need to keep up the island's defense with supply chains, might even get some other countries involved. How is China going to get us to stop our support of Taiwan? Maybe they're going to increase their support for Cuba, for North Korea, for Venezuela. This is something that is actually a part of the strategic competition against our great power rivals. It makes it very squarely inside what can be called legitimate U.S. interests. So I see what happened in Venezuela, and I see what's happening in Cuba and in these other countries, and I think this is actually what an aggressive America First foreign policy actually looks like. Greenland is in our periphery. Yes, Greenland matters because Greenland is a choke point between North America and Europe. Greenland is a staging ground to project power in the Arctic Sea, in the North Ocean. Once all that Arctic ice melts in the not so distant future. Same goes for Canada. Projecting power in Canada. Look at all the raw materials that are there. The uranium, the critical minerals, the oil and energy resources. And by the way, the same goes in the South too, in Panama, in the Caribbean. Those are vital shipping lanes too. Some of our busiest ports are in Texas, Louisiana, Miami. Mexico is our most important trading partner, one of our biggest, I think it's the biggest U.S. trading partner. And so the idea that it is somehow expansionist or colonialist or interventionist or even Zionist for that matter to intervene in the affairs of these peripheral states, it's totally ridiculous. All of this falls inside the U.S. interest. And I would take it a step further and say, why not dream bigger in North America? Like I said, for anybody that would say we should not go into Venezuela, we should not go into Cuba because of some principled objection to the use of force, I'll bring up the example I said at the beginning of the show. On our northern border, Canada is becoming a non-white country. That's right across the way from the United States. Look at where the population center is in Canada. It is all right across the border from the United States. If you look at where the population is concentrated, you've got a little bit across the border from Seattle, and the rest of it is just north of the Great Lakes. That is Canada. And it is increasingly becoming Indian, Pakistani, South Asian, Middle Eastern. Probably half the population is immigrants from South and West Asia. And they are electing a liberal government that is opposed to the United States. And they're talking about defiantly doing business with China, buying their electric vehicles. They're going to try to hedge by allying with Beijing against the United States. This is intolerable. And so you can actually imagine a foreign policy where instead of intervening in the business and affairs of the Middle East, why don't we intervene in the affairs of Canada? It can be done. What if we could get mass deportations in Canada? What if we could exploit and extract all of their raw materials? Then you don't need to worry about the Congo. Then you don't need to worry about some of these other countries we're intervening in. And the same goes for Mexico and Argentina and Brazil and Bolivia. This side of the world is rich in population, natural resources. There's a lot of upside potential for manufacturing and friendshoring, bringing supply chains closer to home in countries that we control. So I actually think this meets an expanded definition of America First, where we truly build an empire. Everybody else is doing it.
I think it's a good idea.
Russia is building a sphere of influence. China is building a sphere of influence. We should have a sphere of influence that is closer to us.
Yeah, because the world,
and it's more economical to use force here, and it actually confers tangible benefits for our population. We actually see the results. We get the oil. We're going to need abundant energy to support our electricity needs. Okay, let's just get it all from Canada. Let's get it all from Venezuela. Let's get it all from Mexico. We need lithium for the batteries. Let's get it from Argentina, Chile, and Bolivia.
We have our own.
We need uranium. Let's get it from Greenland.
Minerals. We just don't mine them.
Why not?
We don't have mines.
What's so bad about that?
Put them out of business.
So I actually like, this is actually a good foreign policy. And if you notice, the only thing that's holding us back is that we're so busy fighting everybody else's wars. We're so busy fighting Israel's war. And think about what Israel's war is really for. Why is Israel at war with Iran? Because Iran is funding Hezbollah in Lebanon. Because Iran is funding the Houthis in Yemen. Because Iran is funding the Popular Mobilization Forces in Iraq. And because Iran controls the Persian Gulf, or can effectively take control over it. So once Iran is defeated, what is Israel going to do? They're going to annex southern Lebanon. They're going to annex southern Syria. They're going to annex the West Bank and Gaza. They might take the Sinai Peninsula. They have territorial ambitions. They want more land, and they want the resources and the strategic benefits of that territory. And they're going to use it to grow their population, grow their economy, project power. What do you think their plans are in Gaza? They want to rebuild Gaza as a smart city. They're going to look at what happened in the Persian Gulf, and they're going to say, gee, it's such a shame that Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Doha and Riyadh, all these cities were supposed to be international hubs for exotic banking and for billionaires and the ultra wealthy and tourism and entertainment. It's such a shame that the image of these cities as a safe harbor for all this capital and investment, it's such a shame that was shattered when they came under attack by drones and missiles from Iran and they couldn't defend themselves. You know, why do you think they're going to pitch Gaza as a charter city? Because they're going to want Gaza to compete with Dubai. They're going to want Gaza to compete with...
Bro, absolutely nobody is going to fucking patronize Gaza for Israel. You know, like, people despise Israel. Why would they go to Israel when they could go to another one of this? When they could... I mean, Beirut used to be that city, but Israel destroyed it, of course.
Abu Dhabi, with all those other cities. And they're saying it. They want an international consortium. They want it to be some kind of autonomous zone, maybe a tax haven, where they're going to build up this city on the blockchain, this city based on autonomous systems, and so on. In other words, they have this expansionist ambition.
Honestly, does anybody think that people are going to want to get spit on in their cosmopolitan city? Because if you go to Israel's Gaza, you're going to get fucking spit on, bro. It's like that in Jerusalem. Why the fuck would anybody subject, if they're rich, if they're billionaires, why would they subject themselves to that?
futuristic
it's
plan,
outrageous. It's
not just about Israel, but about the periphery. They want a greater Israel. And I think about it analogously. Israel, maybe 3 years ago, was confined to this idea that they're going to have to tolerate a two-state solution. And they're going to have these Palestinians living in the West Bank and Gaza, and they're just going to have to squeeze between them, and they're going to have to share governance with them, and they're going to have to let Lebanon keep their territory, and Syria is going to rebuild, and they're going to kind of be stuffed into a corner and have to deal with the cards they were dealt.
They're lucky they're allowed there.
And what Netanyahu did, and I'm not saying I support this, but think about the analog. What Netanyahu did is say, what if we just completely turned over the tables? Let's push these people out of Gaza.
Let's just
take the West Bank. Let's use all of it as a big excuse to just bomb the shit out of everybody. And we want southern Lebanon, and we want the southern suburbs of Damascus. And we're going to take the Iranian regime out, and we're going to have a rebirth of a real empire.
I do believe
now, again,
that they have to kill
I'm not saying
every
that
single Muslim on the planet. If to get pieces of Damascus or Mecca, they're going to have to kill every single Muslim on planet Earth to do that.
Verify that. I'm not saying I support that. But that's the kind of mindset of, instead of tolerating, let's say in America, this decline where we say we're going to have to deal with Venezuela and Cuba, and we're going to kind of get boxed in, and we're going to have to like partition America and all this. What if there was a more ambitious program where we said, no, Canada's ours, Venezuela is ours, Cuba is ours. We're going to turn Cuba into a smart island.
Bro, and then what happens when we're not the strongest company and somebody says, hey, we're going to make America ours? This is dumb shit that he's talking about right here.
What if we turn Cuba and Mexico into another America, and they had first-rate infrastructure, and it was an incredible vacation destination, and we could extract all these resources, the oil, the lithium, the uranium. What if the Caribbean was like our version of the Persian Gulf?
But it's not ours.
Beautiful weather, great beaches, tourism, investment. You have all the rich people in the world. They want to go where it's warm. And people can be digital nomads now. So what if we made Cuba and Haiti and Venezuela? What if we made these destinations where rich people can go, where there can actually be economic productivity, and the Gulf of Mexico could be like a first world periphery of American empire? That's actually an exciting vision that we can get behind. And certainly, Mexicans will live in Mexico, but there will be these enclaves where Americans can live. And it will be just like how Europe has Spain and Malaga, and just like how they have Majorca and they have Italy, we can have the Caribbean. These are ideas we can get excited about.
Gift, Edie.
And instead of having to go into the Congo to get all their resources, we could go to Canada. We could go to Greenland. We could go to the Lithium Triangle in South America. And that's not going to solve all our problems, but it will fuel American prosperity. So I support this agenda 100%. Because I can see the vision. Right now, we're fighting in Ukraine so that Europe doesn't have to pay for a military. Well, fuck them. We have to give you all this stuff so that you can continue to have free education, free healthcare. Everybody's on welfare. You don't have to have any domestic industry. You fight your own war. You're worried about Russia? You fight them. What does that do for us? We need to pour all of our resources into defending Ukraine, so who cares? And same thing in the Middle East. We're spending all this money fighting so that they can get southern Lebanon. What do we get out of this? You get southern Lebanon, Gaza, the West Bank. You get your number one rival defeated. What do we get? Saudi Arabia was about to join fucking BRICS 10 minutes ago. The UAE already joined BRICS. And we're going to fight so that they're safe from Iranian missiles. We're going to fight so that they can like play both sides between Beijing and Washington. Let them get bombed. Let them get bombed, and let Iran deal with those people. We should be using our aircraft carriers here. We should be fighting those wars here. If Americans are going to die in a war, at least let them die to defend our actual homeland, which is kind of what they signed up for. Not that you want that, but you got Americans wounded and dying and military equipment being destroyed, and it's for some other country. If we engaged Mexico in actual counterterrorism, if we went against Cuba and Venezuela, at least we'd be fighting for a better future for America. Shut down the drug trafficking, take control of everything south of the border. That would actually be good. So I totally support it. That is exciting. That is positive. That is imaginative. And I wish they stuck to their guns, because this was the Trump grand strategy in their national security strategy and their national defense strategy, which were both promulgated at the end of last year by Elbridge Colby and the Pentagon. They said, we're focused on the Caribbean and Latin America. It's hemispheric defense. I wish that's what we were doing. And imagine how popular that could be. Instead of this war with Iran where gas prices are out of control, what if we were at war south of the border and that's how we got to deport all these illegals? Wouldn't that be much better? I have a feeling that if we went into Mexico and we went into the Northern Triangle and we killed all the criminals there and we made it safe for American investment, and they invested in infrastructure and had good governance, then one, no one would ever try to come across the border illegally ever again, because that would just be like little America. And two, you could send a lot of these people back. Why don't they want to go back to Mexico? Because Mexico sucks.
Yeah, that's what
They're
bro,
broke.
have I not been saying that if once the standard of living raises, they're going to go home to their own people. Like, I've literally been fucking saying this for like 2 months, man.
And there's too much crime. So they'll vacation in Mexico and then they'll come back here because they want the jobs. Because they can be maids and landscapers. And
when I did landscaping, the company that I worked for, they bought 2 rental properties a block from the yard. And every summer, they imported like 24 Mexicans, the foremans and the workers. And all they did was work like 6 months out of the year. They made enough money to not do shit back in Mexico for winter. They just lounged half the year, worked their asses off. They lived like 12 people to a house, to a 2 or 3 bedroom house. It was kind of wild, but it was legal.
And grape pickers over here, and then they send the money back as a remittance. Well, what if we cleaned Mexico up? We're talking about doing it in the Middle East anyway. We're talking about we want to go into Iran and they can have investment.
Mexico's birth rate is lower than ours. Think of that. Like, those people are going to go home soon.
Here. Let's do it here. Bring the investment into Mexico, clean it up, make it safe, build up their military, and then, hey, maybe Mexico can police Guatemala.
We should
and
do it
El Salvador,
South and North and
Nicaragua
America.
and Honduras.
Use them as a manufacturing
And then we
area.
don't have to worry about all these peasants coming across our border.
Yes.
That's how we got all the Venezuelans here in the first place. Why did 4 to 6 million Venezuelans?
We're not going to get rid of them with deportations. There's too many of them, man. We have to make it to where the incentive to come here and to stay here, that it's no longer an incentive.
Leave Venezuela and come to America because the conditions were so poor there. If you can straighten out Venezuela, you can send a lot of them back. I think they'd want to return.
Yep.
So this is a vision of the future. These are the kinds of ideas that we need. You know, and so I'm sort of finished with my monologue about that. We're going to move on into the super chats. But I do just want to say, to kind of tie it in a bow, these are the kinds of ideas that we need to start thinking about. We need to start thinking about creative solutions instead of hitting our head against the wall saying, you know, we just need a whites-only country. How are we going to do it? I don't know. It seems impossible. We have to start thinking about modern solutions. We have to be forward-thinking. We have to think outside the box. Instead of saying, oh, gee, wouldn't it be great if we could go back to the 80s? Let's think how we can go forward into the 2050s and think about a future where things are actually better than ever. We have more resources, more territory, more options, more upward mobility. But to do that, you actually need smart people. You actually need intelligent people that care about fixing things rather than stupid people that only care about complaining. Stupid people that only want to bitch and moan. They want to do primary campaigns where they just read a list of grievances and they say, I don't even want to be in Congress. I don't even know what we would do. I don't know anything about politics, but I'm unhappy about this, this, and this. Less of that, more innovation, more founders, more startups, more venture capitalists, more ideas, more entrepreneurs. Can we have? Then the difference is those things are hard. Running a primary campaign, easy. Bitching and moaning, easy. Being an entrepreneur, difficult. We have the technology, guys. We have Claude. You can code anything. The money is out there. It's a great time to be alive. Let's be forward thinking rather than backward thinking. Let's be progressive rather than trad or whatever. That's my pitch to you. That's your white pill. Okay, but we're going to move on. We're going to take a look at our super chats. We'll see what you guys have to say about all this. We'll take a look here. We'll get set up. But that's my pep talk. I like somebody said in the group, in the live chat, they said, wars for America greater than wars for Israel. See, I love that. People say no more wars for Israel. It's like, how about wars for America? That's something I could get behind. No more wars
like
for
Vietnam.
Israel. It's kind of like lame, like low energy. How about no more wars for Israel? Wars for America. Send in the troops to Canada, deport the Indians and the Pakistanis. Send in the troops into Mexico, destroy the cartels. Claim that territory for the United States. This is what we did in the Mexican-American War. It's called the Mexican Cession. Let's have a new manifest destiny. Doesn't that excite you? People say, we want to be a republic. I can't wait for the world to become multipolar and America gets pushed into a corner. How about another manifest destiny? How about another period of exciting growth and new frontiers? That's what I'm all about. And honestly, that's the only energy that will animate any kind of right-wing movement in America. It is not animating to say, let's all be like super duper trad. Let's all LARP like it's the 50s, even though the women are whores. Let's be like, let's watch Netflix and Disney Plus, but complain when we don't like the casting in the movies. You know, that's like lame. So.
Datrick sent $20. Tom Steyer attended and participated in the Jewish California Governor 2026 candidate forum on February 26th. Vote Red Bianco.
Really? Okay, so Steyer's out then. Somebody said last night we got to get Tom Steyer. Well, I guess he's out now.
Boogly Woogly sent $20. Test.
Thanks.
Lugubrious Hot Dog sent $26. You're the goat. When can we get some Fire Pop-Tart Thanksgiving merch?
Okay, we're doing it to death already.
Reciv sent $21. Me mom died in the layoffs.
Very good. Well done.
Sasuke Groyer sent $50. I know he's your IRL friend and all, and he has a massive reach with young men, but you should stop talking to Sneeko because I vicariously get my feelings hurt when he's mean to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever. I know a lot of people unironically have that perspective about him. But look, I just like him. He's the homie. I know I already said this. I already said this a bunch of times, but bro, he's just a homie. And I'm not easy to get along with. I'm a very difficult person to get along with. I get it. I don't have a lot of friends because I'm a very over-the-top, anxious person. So I get it. And look, and I like, Sneeko's like a live streamer. He gets what I'm going through. We kind of get each other. So he's my Kanye, Charlie Wilson, brothers forever. The GOAT, GOATco, this one's for you. Even though you're Muslim. Yeah, I did really like those edits. Those edits were really touching. So, yeah. My man Sneak. You know, we'll still be bickering many years into the future, you know, when we're in the gulags or we're in Vietnam or
The
something.
Crafty Knicker sent $20. Thomas Massey should third party run for president in 2028 to split the vote and ensure a never Vance outcome. America first.
Yeah, like, no. See, you people just have like no ideas. Everything is
all
just the
about
most
personality.
obvious thing.
I hate how politics is all about personality. It's not about ideas. Massey did some good things now, but Massey for president, the dude is not president material. Like, not at all. But we're so hung up on personalities. Like, what the fuck? When are we going to learn?
Who can we get to run for president? The anti-Israel
Didn't
guy.
work with Trump.
He sits out a third party. Like, you just think of the most obvious thing that doesn't even make sense. No, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to justify that with a response.
Old Glory Club Fed sent $20.
I won't
Is Joel
even
Weapons America after Trump conference legit or
entertain
offer
it.
2.0?
I don't really know anything about it. I got to give him a call. I haven't talked to him in a minute. So
Celtic Roip sent $40. You need to stand on 2 vantage points and crop out feet when you take pics with Dave Smith.
yeah, seriously. He mogs me to death, dude. Why do I look so short next to him? He's a tall guy. He's a big guy. That's my biggest weakness is I'm micro machines. But that's okay. Good things come in small packages
Hot of Mom
sometimes,
sent
okay?
$50. I think a lot of people are just tired of feeling like most Americans come last in their own country. That's why America First resonates with so many of us. Prayers for your safety always.
You don't
Folded hands
say.
emoji. Pink heart emoji.
You don't say.
Mind blown, officially.
No, I agree with you, though. I appreciate it. You're right. Well, that's a really... I think a lot of people are just tired of feeling like Americans don't come first. Whoa. Wait, say that again. wait. It's like I'm, dude. It's like that, what's that movie? I just feel like a lot of Americans are upset because they're tired of feeling like Americans don't come first. Wait, say that again. America first? It's like, damn, whoa. I think you might have something here. I think you may have something
Enhanced
here.
Grow percent $22. Massey loss made it possible to red pill my Fox News mill on Israel. The messaging is such a 180 on him it's throwing red flags.
Really? See, this is what I'm saying. Maybe that was the, maybe that's what we needed.
Monologues.America first sent $20. Start a nig of the same name. Be influential. Start Roy per clipping pages. AF number 1543 is your best show ever. Tucker's expose.
Really? Thanks. Yeah, please start clipping pages. Start clipping channels. Clipping pages, AI edits. If you want to get my attention, start a really successful clipping channel and then reach out. Or start making really good AI edits or video edits and send them to me.
Straight up Vermouth sent $20. It's funny how you are mean to the super chatters, but deep down we know you love us. You would miss the US if we went away. Red heart emoji. Mr. Ferdinand sent $20.
Really?
Are you doing 1 meal a day?
Some days I'm doing no meals a day. Some days, like the other day, I ate nothing. Nothing. No, I eat about probably 1 meal a day. I drink coffee. But yeah, it honestly just feels better because I have like a lot of stomach problems. So if I eat a lot, I get lethargic, I throw up, I get stomach aches. So it feels good to be fasting all the time.
Air Dingus sent $100. You suck.
Okay, thanks for the big super chat, I guess.
Brittany K sent $50.
Thanks.
Calamari Lips sent $20. Mexican and other ethnic food sucks. I just want to steak some solid clam strips and baked beans and maybe some cornbread.
Okay.
American Jaeger sent $25. Graduated high school today. For college, I'm doing engineering to get into the military for R&D. Thank you for motivating me.
Love it. Love to hear it, man. Good for you. Keep it
Swamp
up.
Boy sent $20. Love the show. Everything you are doing is great. Do you think a career in law enforcement can open the door to get in government?
Like what, being a cop? No.
Wonder Pets Patriot sent $25. Have you seen Tucker's newest Faga hat merch? What's with this guy putting rude words on his fans' heads?
Yeah, I don't really get it. He's making his supporters call themselves faggots. Say what you want about me. I would never do that to you. You know, it's like Tugger's making his fans put on hats that say low IQ. So you're wearing a hat that says I'm stupid. You're wearing a hat that says I'm a faggot. It's like, why would you do that to your own fans? It's like when women never understand POV. You know how women will make TikToks and say POV and they don't know what point of view means? It's the same thing. It's like, you do realize like your fans are wearing these. Like Mark Levin is not going to wear this. Like your supporters are going to wear the hats. So how's that going to work? How's that going to make any sense? Whoever's designing their merch must not really understand that. Like the words on the hat will not be projected onto the person they're talking to. They're emblazoned on the head of the person wearing it. So why would it say stupid faggot? You know, like that just doesn't really make any sense.
Cyborg Assassin sent $20. Can't wait to see what you have in store for us for the next few years. Tweeting something dumbed down like Dems 2026. Republicans 2028 will be the only way the retard right will digest your goals.
Oh, it's an interesting
Grassfed
strategy.
sent $22. Did you see the piece Joe Lonsdale wrote on you? Jews be Jewing dude.
Yeah, I might cover that. Maybe I'll do a kick stream about it.
Queef Queen 07 sent $20. Would Richard Spencer be in your administration?
I don't know. See, the problem is he's not a Christian. That's the only issue. I like Spencer. I like talking to him. I like his content. But he does hate Christianity, which is sort of a problem. So I don't know if I would put him in the government. I might put him in charge of, I don't know, maybe I'd make him an ambassador or some kind of cultural minister or something. Even that, I don't know. But yeah, that would be a little bit tough. That'd be a little bit tough to square.
Clean Breakers sent $20. Do you view Andrew Callahan of Channel 5 News, formerly All Gas No Breaks, as a good faith leftist journalist?
I don't really know enough about him to know if he's good faith or not. I just haven't seen enough of his stuff.
Bro Hyperbond 007 sent $20. Sent via Google Pay. So convenient. Thanks, Nick. Hashtag paid sponsorship. Hashtag paid AD. Hashtag JK.
Very good.
Laura DB sent $20. What's up, Nick?
What up?
Feminified sent $1,000.
Yo, thank you for the huge super chat. Hey, wow, what is with all these females? This is crazy. Where are the guys? When is a guy billionaire gonna outdo? I'm waiting for the first $1 million super chat. That's got to be a guy. I shouldn't say that though. That sounds so ungrateful. But it's like the Foids are doing all the heavy lifting. The females are doing all the, it's every week, it's a female sending in all these huge super chats. It's like, who are these women? Thank you for the massive super chat though. 07's to Femina Fides. God bless you. Huge supporter of the show. She's in the group chat. She's amazing. God bless you. But the guys need to step it up. Where's the guys? You can't let the women do all the work here. But thank you so much. God bless you. And no message. I mean, for $1,000, you can send a message. It's really not an imposition at that point. But you're the best. You're amazing. And we all love you.
Epstein Jr. sent $20. Cocaine Crusader put me onto you 4 years ago. Praying to resolve all beef and that Zerka is finally allowed some water. Hashtag camel.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to drop the beef. I have no enemies. No more beef with anybody.
Chad King sent $100. You're my goat.
Hey, thanks for the big super chat, Chad King. I appreciate it. No, you're my goat, bro. You're my goat. Hey, good for you, man. Congratulations on everything. Hope you're doing well, buddy. I do appreciate it. Bro is out there chilling and hanging out while I am doing this show. It's like, what am I doing with my life? Right? No, but I appreciate you. No, you're the GOAT. No, stop. You're the GOAT. But I appreciate it, buddy. Friend of the show, Chad King. Friend of the show.
Herman German sent $100. Thank you for everything. Stay safe. Appreciate the show. I get you with feeling invisible to people sometimes, but it is what it is.
Oh, thanks for that insightful commentary. Thank you for the big super chat as well. I get what you're saying. It is what it is. Oh, that's a really good point.
Wholesome sent $20.
Incisive.
So we looked at the data.
You caught that?
Lost Anglo sent $100. I'm bankrolling a national poll and one of the questions asks, do you support Nick Fuentes? It will be interesting to see what % of the country are grow-hypers. Thoughts?
I don't know. I think that's a waste of time, honestly, because it's going to be very low. It's going to be very low. because it's only going to be young men, basically, which is already a tiny demographic, and it'll be a fraction of them. So I think we probably have a good estimate already.
Nicolip sent $20. Oh no, our president. He's broken.
Yeah.
Malo Baby sent $20. Candace is going.
She was never really there. You know, it's like that song. She was never really there. Oh, Candace. Candace Owens. When's the next collab, bro? When's the next collab? We got to have a Candace Fuentes reunion. I don't think she'd ever go for it, though, after everything we said. It got so heated. It got so heated. It got so nasty. But I am going to watch her thing with Hunter Biden tomorrow. That will be something. And that is something you should see. We will be watching. We will be tuning into the Hunter Biden interview. I wonder, when do I get my Hunter Biden interview? But that'll be interesting. So your Candace is going. Well, she was already married when I met her. Maybe in another life.
Brock Cunningham sent $20. Blue Wave 2026. We will use their dysfunction as our leverage to bring forward our America First candidate for a new American empire.
When you say it, it sounds so terrible, though. Like, just don't talk.
Barnett sent $20. Thoughts on Harrison Smith?
I like him. I like him a lot.
RG 1313 sent $20. Media. Trump's GOP Trump. I'm 99% in Israel and may lead the nation. Happy International. Eat your goyslop day goat.
Yeah, like at a certain point, who cares? How many people, do you know how many people sent me that clip? They're like, I can't even believe this. It's like, really? You can't believe that? I feel like he's already said that 100 times. Trump does this press pool. He goes, I am 99% in Israel. I should run for prime minister there. And people are going, oh my gosh, I can't believe he said that. It's like most predictable thing ever. Like water discovered to be wet. So I just scrolled right past that. It's like, okay, he's rage baiting. Who even cares? People are so easy. People are so easily rage baited. What the fuck happened to people? It used to be, bait used to be believable. And now Trump goes out there and says, I should be the prime minister of Israel. People go, I can't believe it. Oh my gosh, did you just see this? Uh-oh, we're in a war with Iran, dipshit. Like, yeah, I think this is the least offensive thing that is happening right now, actually.
Swedish Greek sent $20. Is it selling out to work for Palantir as a Catholic and a supporter of the movement? Is there any way to justify it?
I don't even think you know what Palantir is, bro. Like, people just say, like, Palantir is a catch-all for, I don't even know what at this point. No, if you're infiltrating, I think it's totally fine, actually.
Cosmic Crypt sent $20. Good evening, Nick. Remember when all those high-ranking military folks all got fired recently? Probably nothing.
That is so tiresome. Probably nothing. Dude, shut the fuck up and kill yourself immediately. There's nothing I hate more than that tone. Remember when all those top military people got fired? Probably nothing. Dude, like, shut the fuck up. Do you know how insufferable that is? Do you know how unlikable that is when you say that? So you really believe? So you're telling me you really believe the official narrative? Like, that whole thing, it just has to stop. Like, we have to kill that. It has to die.
Fentanyl is good for you sent $100. Invades Mexico. Deports all the Mexicans.
Yeah. Thank you for the big super chat. Yeah, exactly.
Torso 858 sent $20. Big dog. Show on point. 100%. But what the hell happened to the intro vid? The old waiting video. Music was a banger. I would let it play for however long. The new one is a bigger problem than Israel.
Okay.
TF Troy percent $20. Hey Nick. Been watching since you collabed WYAN in 2025 and converted to Catholicism because of you. Thoughts on 141? Newsom 28.
I don't know what that means, but thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Rahilem sent $20. 126 is insane. Rapeable victim weight. Bulk and lift retard. Eating like Ariana Grande. Love you, God bless.
It's crazy how you hear another man's weight and your immediate thought is like getting raped by another man. That's actually, because I say that, I'm like, yeah, I don't weigh a lot. And people go, you're going to get raped. It's like, why are you thinking about like being raped by other guys? You know what I mean? I just want to be skinny, okay? Like I want to be, look good, feel good, be skinny, not chubby. I was chubby. I had fat on my face. I had a disgusting belly. I had love handles. So I lost weight. And then people go, what if a guy rapes you though? It's like, I don't know. I would shoot them and kill them. Like, I'm not actually worried about that. Getting raped by other guys is like really low on my list of concerns. High on my list of concerns is like being killed. Well, you're so little. What if a guy just fucking raped you? It's like, I don't know. I'd like try to get the police involved. I'd probably try to like shoot them and kill them. Maybe I'd run away. Rapeable victim weight. We live in the 21st century. Like, where do you think we live? We don't live in the Roman Colosseum. I don't have to like kill anybody with a mace. I don't have to kill anybody with like a battle axe. What are you talking about? You know what my day consists in? I just like, I eat breakfast. I go on my computer. I drive to get McDonald's or something. I go to the car wash. I'm not actually like evading giant rapists around every corner that just want to rape me for no reason. So, and also what now what? I have to like go to an MMA gym and bulk up to like 160 pounds on the off chance that a giant guy is going to try to rape me. It just doesn't even make any sense.
What the fuck is he talking?
Like, you're telling me I have to implement all these lifestyle changes because I'm like, have this dark cloud hanging over my head of like, what would happen? Like, here I go, gotta go to the gym today and gotta eat my protein shake. Can't get raped today. Cannot get raped by a bigger guy. Have to go to the gym today. Do not want to get raped. Like I'm living in fear for the next 6 months. Gotta get bulked up. Once I get bulked up, I won't have to worry so much about this anymore. That's crazy. So, no, I don't think so. I prefer to look good. I prefer to be skinny. I'll put on a little bit of muscle, but I'm gonna stay skinny. And here's the thing, dude, let's just be totally realistic. If people were that dedicated to wanting to rape you, there's very little anyone could do. Like, we have firearms now, and there's gangs of people. So like, what happens, let's say you're alone at any time, and a group of like 10 people that have a foot on you, they're like a foot taller than you, approach you with loaded guns, and they're like, all right, we're here to rape you. Like, you're telling me if I was 30 pounds heavier, what am I gonna do then? I'm gonna fight them all? You're telling me, so I can't ever be alone. So let's say I'm being stalked through the streets. This is a sophisticated operation, and let's say there's like a dozen people with guns, and they're like, listen, and they surround me, and they're like, listen, we're gonna torture you and fucking kill you, and we're gonna rape you. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna put on 30 pounds, I'm gonna learn kickboxing, and then I'm gonna fight them all off like it's a movie. I'm gonna get my Captain America shield out. What are you even talking about? So that's just totally, let's just stop with the fucking cope. Let's just stop imagining these scenarios, and let's just admit you are a powerless male, and this is a surrogate activity that makes you feel better about your powerlessness. Like, that is some kind of weird, that is like a weird power thing. It's like a thwarted will to power that you're sitting around going to the gym thinking this is about like being raped or something. Let's just be honest. This has to do with the fact that you feel little, you want to feel big. See, I don't feel little ever because I'm rich and influential. So I don't feel little because, you know, I stand on business.
Because he can compensate.
I'm a cool genius. I'm rich.
He can compensate.
I'm famous.
Where he's lacking.
So
not only that,
I'm not worried about like about that. But I feel like if you work at a grocery store, in your mind, you're like, I mogged that guy over there. I totally mogged that guy. It's like, dude, that guy's just trying to get home to his wife. Like, he's living another life of quiet desperation just like you. You know, you're going to the grocery store and you're like, I may be bagging these groceries, but I'm the biggest guy here and I could totally rape all these other guys. It's like those guys are miserable too. Like, you're going to go home and jack off or smoke weed or fuck some mid-slut off of Hinge. And so is that guy. If anything, that guy's going to go home to a wife that loves him and they have a dog or something. And you're thinking about violent rape. It's like, what is wrong with you people? Anyway, so yeah, let's just drop all this LARP stuff. Let's just live. Let's just live our lives. Let's just be who we are. I want to be skinny. I'm not cognitizing. What is the word? I'm not thinking all the time about that. It's like your victim weight. Dude, I carry a gun. Like if someone tries to rape me, I'll just shoot them. If I can't shoot them, then I don't know. I probably would have died anyway. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, people would just try to take your shit. No one, if anything, it's like 3 black guys are going to jump out of a car with a rifle and say, give me your shit, give me your iPhone. They're not going to try to like rape me. And then it's like, okay, here's my stuff, I guess. You know? So anyway, they'll do that to you no matter how big you are. Anyway. So that's crazy. Rapeable victim. Bulk and lift, retard. Bulk and lift. You got to go to the gym, bro. That sounds like a you problem. That is all in your head, bro. Wake up from the Matrix. You got to wake up from the Matrix. We are not going to live these insane, unnatural lifestyles to satisfy some deficit of feeling powerful as a man, because that's really what it is. You know? I'm a sedentary person. I eat light. I'm going to eat like an Olympian and do all this weightlifting so it's like I can save myself in some kind of rape scenario. It's just like, what are we doing? Why are we thinking like that?
Frozen 6,000 sent $40. Turned 22 today. Been watching since you were 22. It's been a wild ride. Is this unk status?
Turned 22. So you've been watching for, how old am I now? 5 years? Wow, dude. No, you're not unk yet. Unk is like 26, I would say. Something like
Jim
that.
Silgroy percent $20. Boomers are right. You lose muscle first if you don't eat, but you don't have muscle to lose. Eat protein and lift wink.
That's what why are you calling me a twink? Like, that's just like gay terminology. This whole thing is just there's something psychosexually going on with all these people that are like, you're a twink. It's like, no, I'm just like a skinny guy.
Connor Gridley sent $100. Sending thoughts and prayers from Iowa. Only the realest niggas come from the Midwest. Underrated region.
Hey, thank you for the big super chat. I appreciate it. No, it's I don't know that it's underrated. I think it's very properly rated. It's pretty boring here.
Goy Beam operator sent $25.
Thank you.
Monkey Puncher sent $20. Massey gets forced out of Congress by Israel, and Matt Walsh is talking about Pizza Hut and Netflix. Shapiro cracked the whip.
Yeah.
Your Dane Groy sent $50. First time donor. You're 100% correct on everything. You're a ridiculously smart man.
Thanks.
I have a starting family and I really appreciate your hard work. Thank you. God bless you, Nick.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Benjamin Franklin Yahoo sent $20. Not enough pro wrestling talk. What's your favorite match stipulation? For example, DLC, Tornado Tag, Hell in a Cell, etc.
Who cares, man? They ruined it. The Jews ruined wrestling like they ruined everything. I don't know. I used to watch that when I was a kid. I liked, my favorite was Hell in a Cell. And I really loved any table, ladders, and chairs match, TLC. That was probably my favorite. Anything with ladders. I love the ladders. Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank was my favorite. I take that back. I remember playing SmackDown versus Raw 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010. I think those were the only ones I had. And my favorite was Money in the Bank, tables, ladders, and chairs, Hell in a Cell. What's better than you throw the guy off the cell or send him through the roof of the cell, through the announcer table? Yeah, that was my favorite. So I think I would, maybe Money in the Bank. Something so cool about how many people are in Money in the Bank? It was like a 6-man match or something, and you got to beat the fuck out of everybody and then get up the ladder. Yeah, that was good stuff.
Killsudo sent $20. I see you're supporting the Democrats out of spite. What about all the people that switched Republican for all BS Dems have pulled in their primaries? Doesn't switching enable dysfunctional uni-party?
No, that's just idiotic.
Mr. Detailed sent $20. Shout out to my 11-year-old son Matthew Miller. He weighs almost as much as you, LOL.
That's a big 11-year-old, damn.
Michigan supporter sent $20. In your opinion, where did all this Israel influence come from? Did it start in the 1900s? What's their endgame?
Okay, that's just like diabolical.
Bro, I Promotion sent $20. Did you see James Murdoch bought Vox and NY magazine, covered in WP? Literal Back to the Future meme.
No, I didn't, but wow, that's crazy.
Monster Mike sent $100. We need young men with gumption to step the fuck up and save this nation. High energy or stay home. Thank you for being an inspiration for us all. Let's get that W. Fist emoji.
Yep. Thank you for the big super chat. Let's get that W. Yeah. Hell yeah. So true.
Triangle Groy percent $20. Thank you for all you do. Nick, your testament over the years spurred on my conversion to Catholicism. Confirmed this Easter.
Hey, congratulations. Love to hear it.
Farty MC Poopy Pants sent $20. As a man, you shouldn't be proud of eating less and getting skinny. You need to eat protein and carbs and work out.
Why? Literally, why? As a man, you should, like, what? Why? What does that even mean?
Non-plus Ultra sent $25.
Why do people care?
Non-plus
It's
Ultra.
so crazy. People are so threatened by this all the time. I don't understand that. It's never enough that it's like, hey, to each his own. It's always like, no, you need to be doing this. Like,
Non-plus
why?
Ultra sent $25. Massive victimhood mentality needs to stop. Fight to win. Blue wave. Ocean wave emoji. Crowd or collapse are great. Genuine hear the other side.
Gotta hear both sides.
Corporate Groy percent $35. If Massey ran in 28, would it help us by hurting Vance/Rubio and forcing the Israel conversation?
No, bro, no.
MQ Groy percent $20. Thanks for all you do. Great talk with Dave Smith. All 3 hours. You roasted me last time I asked about Knowles and Walsh, and fair. What's the dynamic between the DW and their hosts? Like Wiz of Oz?
Come on, man.
Turd
like,
Ferguson sent $50.
every night.
Saw a video of Trump bragging about having a 99% approval rating in Israel. He says I could run from prime minister when I'm done with this. Meanwhile, we're rocking a 32% rating here. What a Jew.
It's a very high level analysis here. That's a different take. I have not heard that yet. He says he's popular in Israel, but he's unpopular here. It's almost like he's putting them first and not us. It really made me think for a minute.
Giga Chad Groy
You just
percent
red-pilled me.
$23. Hey Nick, thanks for another great show. Thoughts on data centers? God bless you and your family.
I'm not totally opposed to them, honestly. I just think that they need to fix the noise problem and some of the pollution. You know, they say that some of the water is polluted by this, and there's like these, they're so noisy. But if we can find a way where the data centers actually, there has to be some kind of public benefit, aside from the tax benefits and the jobs and everything. Like they should, I don't know, pay for the electricity. There's got to be some creative way that the data centers can actually support the community around them. But I'm not actually opposed to them completely.
Just some guy here sent $20. Quit LARPing as a twink unless you are going to wear the crop top for a show.
Okay, that's crazy.
Cuban Coffee sent $20.
That's just
Cuba was
totally
the only
insane.
Western country to vote against the creation of Israel at the UN under nationalist President Grau San Martin.
Okay.
Fort Wayne Groy percent $20. Will the hats fit okay for us niggas that are cranium maxing?
Yeah.
White America first sent $20. Good show tonight, bud. Just wanted to point out that everything going on in the Middle East is more like a battle than a war. I do believe we are on our way to a full-out war after the end of the year. Jonathan sent $100. Hey Nick, I listened to your show while working the graveyard shift, and after listening to your interview with Dave Smith yesterday I began The Suicide of a Superpower audiobook. I know you mentioned books here and there, but would you mind giving a concise list of must-reads for beginners to politics?
I would mind, actually. Thank you for the big super chat. I will not do that. We're going to create a secret society. The book club will be totally exclusive, initiates only. Because most people can't, you give people a book list, they're not going to get it. So, no, I don't think I will. But I appreciate the big super chat. No book list.
Iowa Grow percent $20.
Overrated.
Standing by for deployment to Ohio. Yeet the G-Tammy. Frank Slide sent $75. Amen. Invade Canada. Talk about low-hanging. Grow
Yeah.
Justin sent $150.
Hey, thank you for the big super chat. I appreciate it.
Admin
No
sent $20.
message. Beautiful.
I was skeptical on your take when it first came to voting Democrats. But after Trump betrayed not only America but the whole world, I truly get it now. You're a visionary. Thanks for everything.
Right. Everyone is saying that. After Massey lost, now everyone is coming around to it. I'm always 5 steps ahead. And nobody ever gets that. It's so funny because people will be like, 5 steps ago, you were so right, or, whatever it is. You were so ahead of the curve, but the thing you're saying now is bullshit. And then they catch up. Oh, I was wrong again. You were right about everything. But the current thing you're saying is bullshit. And then I get proven right. Oh, you were right again. I was wrong. In retrospect, you totally were right. But the current thing, you're going way too far. Every single time. Every single time.
Broken Groy percent $20. Our hemisphere until we're the superpower again.
Yes.
PJ sent $20. Nick lost 30 pounds in a few months from not eating, and Muslims want to complain about skipping lunch for 30 days. Smiley face emoji.
Yeah, very true.
Dipak sent $20. I'm a photographer friend of Turkey Tom. Now that you slimmed out and up and you're mogging, we gotta update your thumbnail and promo photos. You down for a photo shoot?
Sounds a little
Maybe,
bit,
I don't know. I am talking to somebody that might do that, but
A little bit effeminate.
I don't know. Are you a professional? Or are you an amateur? I'm not sure.
Sterling 07 cent $25.
Not gonna
If you
lie.
had to pick one race to split the
The
country
gay dude
50 to
took
50
my
with whites, what would you
pictures
pick?
too, like in a park.
It's a
He
tough
did
question.
it for free, so I was like, "Fuck, I'll take it."
Probably Hispanics. Obviously, I'm biased.
Like
But look, Chinese are just like
my channel picture.
soulless. They're rude, no social graces. They are like bug people. They're very like conscientious and not violent, but you know, they're just different. Blacks are what they are, Muslims are what they are. I think I'd have to go Hispanics. Hispanics are like just enough. They're just white enough that they got a little something going for them. I think it would probably have to be Hispanics, but then again, it's me. I mean, I'm Hispanic.
Casso Enover sent $20. 126 pounds. Damn. We're the same height, and I look shredded at 155 pounds.
Okay, congrats.
Pepe the Freg sent 20.
I'm gonna get
Pepe
there.
the
I
Freg
will
sent
get
$20.
there.
Massey would have won if the GOP had more Zoomers. He should have used the money to get more in. Here, you could have helped.
That's just not true. If you look at the crosstabs, dude, look at the exit polling.
Slick sent $20. Groiper mom here. Love the show. I have 2 girls and teaching them to be good wives at 5 and 7. No hoes in this family.
We need it. Love to hear that. Good for you. We need that. Yeah, because the hoeing is out of control.
Guggenheim Prophecy sent $20. Fishback was on Jubilee arguing in favor of the 12-day war less than 1 year ago. Ignore that, but critique Massey over style points?
Yep.
We need a broad coalition to win. Massey 28 is our only hope.
Yeah, you're an idiot. Sorry. I don't know what else to say. No, we don't. And just because Massey is like a guy that look, he criticized Israel because he's a libertarian, but he is not like some nationalist champion or something. If you literally settle for just anyone, if the bar is that low, it's someone that voted against the aid package, you just don't know what you're talking about. So it's like, oh, look, a human adult male that voted against Israel aid, he should be president. Like, is that really where we are? So no, sorry, you are stupid.
Chancellor Palpatine sent $20.
What do you think,
power.
Dad?
Unlimited power. Marabi sent $20. I love you, Nicholas Fuentes, so much. Pink heart emoji. Pink heart emoji.
Do
Pink heart
you?
emoji. America first wank.
No, I appreciate
The White
it.
Rican sent $20. The Caribbean is ours.
Yeah.
Chocolate Cheeks sent $20. Sick. Thanks for spreading truth. Do you think you could have another collab with Candace? She's been watching the clips.
I don't know. I have no
Canadian
idea.
Growiper 31451 sent $20. You are 100% right about Canada. I go to university in Toronto and it's all Indians, Muslims and some East Asians. There are legit no heritage Canadians and I'm saying this as an Eastern European.
I know, bro. I know people from
Lord
Canada.
sent $20. Come to kick and take over the platform, it's time.
I might do
Fuentes
that.
for president sent $20. This the suit. No more bargain baggy suits that look like you got shoulder pads.
Okay, none of them are bargain baggy suits. I just lost a lot of weight. I got to get them tailored is the problem, but I'm just too lazy. Bargain bag, that's crazy.
Lamb sent $20. I've watched Brandon Harrios videos for 7 years now and I want to vote for him, but he is just not AF.
Okay,
Big Vivek
I
support.
still don't know
Blazing
anything
Groiper sent
about him.
$20. The Shopify app is ripping you off selling your hats and shirts to their asses.
Okay.
Uzbek Monkey sent $20. Hey there, Candace, what's it like in Nashville City? I'm 472 miles away, but girl, tonight you look so African American. Yuhaman 8588 sent $20. Women control 85% of consumer dollars in our consumer economy. So $1,000 super chat from a woman is like $175 from a dude. It's science. White America first sent $20. Just curious, but do you know you make this nasal breath noise sometimes when you're heated and talking?
Yeah, I have a deviated septum.
1776 Covenant sent $20. You must think the Growipers are stupid. You lose weight after meeting Clav. Just admit it, you're on peptide. Decapitate Caligroiper sent $20. What's that disgusting fart noise you make with your mouth constant? Bombastic sent
I don't know what that
$20.
is.
Been watching you since September 10th, 2025. I go back and watch it about once a month. Same with Hides, this is you. Keep the mindset.
Since September 2025? That's not that long, but I appreciate
Saint
it.
Saxon sent $20. Cope. 1776 Covenant sent $20. Love the shows this week, especially today's. We do need to get excited about America's future. Havana Smart City, I would go.
Thanks.
Stealth Black sent $20.
Appreciate
Males
it.
insecure about rape tend to be closeted homosexuals where the only acceptable way to express it is to be raped.
I don't think it's that.
Big Dog sent $21. Do you miss hitting the North End in Boston?
Not really. Highly overrated. I mean, I used to go there. They got some good Italian food, but I mean, compared to New York, compared to Chicago, it's highly, highly overrated. You go to Boston, everybody goes, oh, the North End, the North End. Oh, we have the best Italian. We have this one bakery. Okay, New York is a train ride away. Chicago is way better. The North End. The food in Boston sucks. It sucks. It's irredeemable. They have a terrible food scene. They don't have one good pizza. Their gem is the North End, and it is highly overrated. I mean, it's decent, but, you know, New York and Chicago just blow it out of the water. There's restaurants in LA that blow anything in the North End out of the water, for that matter. And there's barely any Italians that live in LA. So, yeah, not a food city. If you're a food guy, avoid Boston. LA, New York, Chicago, maybe Miami. These are your staples. Boston, forget about it. You're better off in Vegas, probably.
SC sent $20. I'd about this connection, but it seems like Congress didn't pass the SAVE Act specifically to interfere with massy election. It seems likely.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Lana Del Rey
That's
Glover sent
literally the
$20.
dumbest
You really
thing
don't
I've
get
ever
blazed
heard.
enough. I'm glad you're rich. You really deserve it. You really don't miss.
Okay, thank you.
Dov sent $300. What was more tilting, Crowder not understanding why we must vote Democrat in 2026? Or Dave not seeing Tucker as a spook? Love you. Goat emoji.
Thank you for the huge super chat. I appreciate it. What tilted me more? Probably Crowder. Dave, I think, is, I think we agree on a lot, but with Crowder, there's so little common ground. The H-1B thing, which turned out to basically not really even be true. I guess the approval rate for H-1B petitions is 97% under Trump. So, yeah, it's like you're just arguing with these GOP talking points. It's very frustrating.
Michael Big Mike Honcho sent $20. Hope everything is going well with you behind the scenes, Nick. Also wish the best for your family. God bless.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Free-spirited uriner sent $20. You must be ready to burn yourself in your own flame. How could you rise anew if you have not first become ashes?
Yeah.
Dov sent $100.
Okay.
The girls are making us look bad guys. Step it up and open the wallets. Sell a kitty or something. Get creative. Love you. Goat emoji.
Thanks for the big super chat. Appreciate it. Thank
MS232 sent
you.
$20. The Goyim will ask how to convert boomers, then proceed to talk about vampires. First of all, you're playing the wrong game. Second of all, just stick to your fastball, otherwise shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Your Dane Groyper sent $20. Mog as you have been.
Thank you.
Attack Sneako's Pride sent $20.
Yeah, what do you
Niggas
think?
don't know about the Yay Drink
My
Champ stream,
mogging?
your greatest stream ever. Truly the beginning of it all. Man walking emoji.
The problem is my hair is like too long and it's like a little frizzy. I feel like I don't look good in a suit anymore. Like I look a lot better in a quarter zip. Yeah, my hair. I need to do something with my hair. Does anybody know a stylist? I need to figure out what I'm going to do with my hair because it just never really works. It never really looks good. So I got to get like a hair specialist. I'm having a hair emergency to fix me up. But anyway, I appreciate it.
AC0R0 Na sent $20. Nick, you're the man, but change back the intro. Jem Loves Christ sent $50. Hi Nick, I'm an Aussie girl who loves the show. Your political takes are on point, and you are the best doing what you do.
Hey,
The weight loss looks great. Ignore all the men.
Let's
you look
go.
hot. Absolute
Thanks
mog.
a lot. Absolute mog.
Kazak
Thank
sent
you.
$50. Do you line up your beard yourself, or buy a barber?
I just trim it. So no, I don't go to a barber. I just shave it when it gets out of control. Okay, that's our last super chat. That's going to do it for me. Wow, some great stuff tonight. Amazing. That's our last super chat. Remember to smash the follow button, smash the like button, leave a comment. I'm on the air Monday through Friday. As always, thank you to our top super chatters. Special thank you to Femina Fides, Dove, Groyper Justin, Ander Dingus, Chad King, Herman German, Lost Anglo, Fentanyl's Good For You, Connor Gridley, Monster Mike, and Jonathan. Thanks to them. Thanks to all our super chatters, everybody that watches. We love you. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, have a great rest of your evening.
Indeed. All right, fellers. Y'all enjoyed the stream.